Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Cantina Social Hour. It is great to be here. It is great to see everybody in the house. Thank you guys for being here. Awesome. I love it. How's everybody doing? It's Friday. Thank goodness. Just in time for the weekend, middle of summer, very hot. But there's some cool stuff coming. San Diego Comic-Con is coming. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few different things with tonight's esteemed panel, which I will introduce in just a little bit here. But first, I want to see who is hanging out with us thus far this evening. The night is young. It's only 6:04 local time. I know some of you guys, it's morning, evening, afternoon. Some of you, it might be in the future. I don't know. But either way, we're glad that you're here. So hello. Adam, how's it going? Our resident bouncer is in the house, making sure that things are running smoothly. Operations are going well. If you're causing any trouble, he's going to come and kindly escort you out of the premises. So be kind. Positivity only, please, in this cantina. Clone Troop 211, how's it going? Good to see you. Britt, how's it going? Good to see you as always. We got Trevor with us. Hey, Trevor. What's going on? Ian, welcome back. Good to see you. Lorena is with us. Hey, Lorena, how are you doing? Good to see you. Mary, what's up, Mary? Thanks for joining us. Allison, how's it going? Good to see you. We got Jeff Russell in the house. Good to see you, too. Welcome back, Troy. Thank you for hanging out. We got Basil G with us, hanging out. What is going on? We got Bob in the house. We got Rick hanging out with us. Luke Malone with us. Says, never yet seen any of the Acolyte. I don't have Disney Plus. Well, Luke, if you want to see it, we're going to be talking spoilers. So just, want to give you that heads up there. Let's see. We have Futura May. Am I saying this right? I apologize if I'm not. You guys have such creativity that, I just can't keep up with it. That's what it is. Welcome to the future indeed. Timbo Toys, how's it going? Awesome. We're off to a good start. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Always appreciate it. What better way to spend Friday night than hanging out here in this cantina with you guys, talking about toys, talking about collectibles, talking about Star Wars. And that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. All right. So, yeah, like I said, San Diego Comic-Con is right around the corner. I will be talking about that in just a little bit. I will be there. How's that going to affect Social Hour next week? You'll find out just a little bit. But yeah, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I went back to work today after being off, for the last several weeks for summer break. And now I'm, back in the classroom, and I've been up since 5 a.m. I got to get used to that again, because I got used to staying up so late and just, being on the internet, just looking up random things like I like to do. I research the weirdest things like late at night. Like I'm trying to go to sleep, and then I grab my phone and I start thinking about things like how can you transform the consistency of Jell-O, like to serve it as more like a liquid. I don't know, just weird things. I don't know why I look up these weird things, but I do. I'm just drawn to this stuff. And once I get a thought in my head, I can't get it out until I do something with it. So yeah, I can't do that anymore because I'm back at work. All right, so we're going to go ahead and bring in tonight's panel, see who is with us. I see a few other names filtering into the house. We got Vader 762 times 39. Do I have that right, or is it X39? Or is this a measurement for something? Like I just don't know, but we'll take it. All right, we will take it. And Britt is excited because she says that Oscar the Grouch and Grumpy Tom and Grumpy are in the house. A perfect Grump trifecta. Yeah, we're gonna have to show you guys something regarding that in just a little bit. All right, but let's go ahead and bring them in. Welcome in tonight's guests, tonight's panel. Who is hanging out with us here in the cantina? Let's go ahead and bring them in. So the fun begins. All right, returning from the netherworlds of the garbage can in the alley of Brooklyn, New York, we got Grumpy Tom with us, the one and only Grumpy Tom. Tom, how's it going?
I'm already angry about things, lots of things, Star Wars related things. I can't believe Captain Picard got abducted by the Borg and we don't find out what happens.
English, please. I don't speak Star Trek.
Mad. Hi, Victoria. Hi, everybody. What's I'm real curious about the next 17 video about Boba Fett's bounty thing there. We'll have to get back to that. I know about the next 17. And I love the next 17.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The next 17. Very good. All right. And then returning once again from the Boba Fett fan club, we got the one and only Chelsey B. Coombs with us. Chelsey, how's it going?
Hello. I am very, very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Everybody's always so lively in the chat. So very excited to see everybody and glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to see you, but it's been a long time since I've had you two. And I think you both were on together last time you were both on the show. And that was I think it was the very beginning of the year. I want to say it was the first stream this year. So it's great to have you both back once again.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. And to anyone just joining us right now.
Hello.
That's my favorite thing. That one, it's they finally got, yeah.
I mean,
hello.
I know we're gonna go into it, but just the Jason from The Good Place of it all, is just chef's
so
kiss.
good. It's so good. Hey guys, Darth Plagueis was in it. Darth Plagueis was in one of the last episodes.
Spoilers.
Darth Plagueis was in it. Sorry, did you do spoiler warning already?
Once again, I know I already mentioned it, but once again, we are talking spoilers. So if anybody has not seen the Acolyte, we're talking spoilers. We waited patiently for this whole show to play out. I haven't mentioned it once on this stream at all. I wanted to get the full story. I didn't want to be one of those people who's jumping the gun and saying, it's this or it's that. I wanted to see the whole thing. And now we're going to talk about it, right? We're doing it the, maybe not the right way, but our way. Tom, I got to show people your new logo because it's just, I was swiping through my phone earlier and when I was at work and then I just I kind of giggled to myself quietly because I didn't want anybody to see me on my phone, first of all, and secondly, giggling, looking at my phone.
Yeah, that would just be weird.
Yeah. I love it.
I love Salacious Crumb so much. You have no idea. When I was a kid, I made a Salacious Crumb puppet out of socks and cardboard and stuff like that with arms and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Did you read from a certain point of view and get his tragic backstory?
No.
It's a lot. There's a lot of trauma there is what I'm going to say. But
poor old Salacious Crumb.
I love his middle initial. That's,
Salacious B. Crumb? What's it stand for?
I don't
Bread.
know.
that was for real. I think that's what they used to joke, that it was bread, but I mean, I don't know.
Salacious. Bread, right. Yeah, breadcrumb. Sure. I think it would be something like Benedict.
I think that's really nice. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Why wasn't he in the Acolyte? That's why the Acolyte sucked. Not enough Salacious B. Crumb.
I think that's the biggest complaint everybody had.
We can all agree.
Yeah.
He was in, I mean, well, not him, but we saw them quacking monkey lizards in Book of Boba Fett, right? Or was it Mandalorian or both?
I think it was both. Yeah, I believe so. But that was cool seeing them. I mean, different colors, right? So, maybe from a different place,
Yeah, and there's if you guys saw Resistance, or I don't know if you guys saw that. Remember that one episode? Tom, did you catch that one?
No.
So there's you're probably not going to watch it at this point, I assume, but yeah. So there's quacking monkey lizards, but they're giant. They're bigger than people that are in yeah. Yeah. You're now I'm going to watch it.
Okay. Give me the info on that episode, and I'll check that one out. Yeah.
Okay, will do. Will do. I see more friends joining in. Paul, how's it going? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. William, good to see you as well.
You're terrible. They're displaying their Salacious B. Crumbs cooking in Jabba's palace and craving barbecue. That's terrible. That's so sad. Poor little Salacious Crumb and his monkey lizards getting all chewed up. Terrible.
See, you know, on some planets.
Salacious Tea Crumb for Tom. Yeah.
Kung Pao Salacious Bee Crumb.
I love the chatter going on. Howrunner Base, good to see you. How are you doing? All right, you guys. So should we talk a little bit of toys?
Sure.
right.
Always good to talk that.
Look, it's Darth Plagueis.
Wow.
He was in the episode.
Someone's jumping the gun.
Yeah.
And excited. And very excited, it sounds like. All right.
I squealed.
I hope that's all it was, just a squeal. All right. So I always jump to Yakface's page, Jason's page, to see what he has, because usually he's got the newest stuff on here. So let me see, what has he got on here that's like new? Okay. So he does have some, I guess this is hitting target. This is the Epic Heroes, the downsized N1 Starfighter.
How much does that thing cost?
$29.99, I think, if that's the price for that.
You can go and you can buy the thing for $30 in a store, and you can put your normal figures in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the TVC one, but yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
I know. You're probably going to do that. Hey,
Much
I mean, I have
than the TVC version, but
what do you say?
Because I think it was like $130, originally. So
yes,
$30, that's a steal.
That's a steal. That's great.
It is.
I'm glad that if kids still buy action figures, can get this and fly it around their house with their toys in it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what it's all about, is using the imagination.
Yep.
We can't lose sight of our imaginations, because once we stop using those, we lose them. It's like a muscle. You gotta keep using it.
YouTube crushed mine years ago. Mine's gone now. It's just clicking through things as quick as possible and fast forwarding to the good parts. Yeah,
so there's that. What else?
It's a delightful set.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's not bad. So it looks like this is a 2-pack, maybe? Duel for the Dark Saber pack. Okay, so this is a Mandalorian season 3 pack with Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan, and yeah, I mean, so more epic heroes, more in that scale. The 5 POA sort of thing. And then we also have, what do we got? We've got a Darth Maul coming, based, I think, on the Clone Wars, is what it looks like. Coming to Epic Heroes. That head sculpt actually looks pretty decent, gotta say.
Yeah, that's not bad.
How do these scale with the vintage collection ones? I know that says they're 4 inches, but are they actually bigger, or are they just kind of the same size?
They're about the same. Like I have the Mandalorian one right here.
Oh, yeah. Can you compare them?
Yeah. It's not going to be very noticeable on
that's
here,
real.
but
yeah, that's real close, isn't
close.
it? Yeah, great.
I got my Hawaiian Lando.
Oh, I
love that one.
Favorite. Yeah.
It's the best.
Such a good outfit.
That's why he's on my desk. He's one of my favorites.
I'm crushed we didn't get that in Black Series.
Right?
Yeah. I'm crushed we still don't have that. We don't still know 100% what's going on with that movie or that series. So
I know. Especially after we learned that Donald Glover is going to actually be like writing it and everything. But, maybe we'll hear a D23 or something.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely. Maybe we'll all be dead first.
Very distinct possibility of that also.
I mean, who knows? I hope not, but the way things are looking. Let's see. Geek Strong, how's it going? Good to see you. All right. So what else does Jason have on here? That's as of late. So I guess this is starting to ship. The Mandalorian Night Owl, just got like a generic. Oh, you got her too?
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm like really liking the darker blue color. I wish that they would make more like not blue Mandalorians, because obviously the Covert had so many different colors, but I will take what I can get. Yeah, this is pretty nice. It's really interesting too, because if you look, you might be able to see it. It's hard to see, but you can see Bo-Katan's head in there with her hair, but it's not colored, obviously. It's just like the
glued in.
There we go.
Interesting.
Yep. And the helmet's also like glued onto it. So Yeah, kind of interesting.
Cool. Let's see what else.
Hey, did you hear about the Cantina playset?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, they made one, and it was for like a Hasbro Pulse or something. I think it got funded, and it comes with a couple of obscure characters that I've never heard of before. Greedo and Wooher.
Yes. Yeah, it certainly does.
I didn't bother with it.
Whatever. I know you backed it. Yeah. I backed 3 of them. So.
Wow.
But cool. I have 4 coming because I have Angela's Cantina coming here that everybody helped fundraise. So that's I can't wait for mail day that day. I just hope my husband isn't home at the time they come.
Yeah, those are going to be some big boxes, I think.
Yeah, just a little. So we have a name for this guy here from DisneyStore.com. This is the Droid Factory R5 Zombie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I was like, what? I was like, what's wrong with his face? And then, so he's a zombie. So he's a
zombie.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that means in terms of droids. Like, that just seems like a hack to me. They got hacked, right?
Yeah, they used Microsoft's, whatever that thing was, right?
Yeah. What was that even? I went almost the whole day without even knowing about this. Like, I had a coworker telling me something about, Victoria, the grid, the grid's going to go down. I'm just thinking like, okay, just conspiracy, conspiracy theory stuff. I'm like, whatever, Joey, whatever. Yeah. But then like I get home and my husband's asking like, hey, did you hear about all the stuff that's going on? I'm like, oh, he wasn't kidding me. Like there was actually something going on this time. So I'm like, oh, okay, that was interesting.
After all the chaos in this world now, it's like, oh, the whole grid went down for a few hours today and grounded every flight.
Yeah, I like it. I was at work the whole day. Like it didn't affect me in any way. Yeah, I think my dog's dreaming. I hear her underneath the desk. She's like, yeah, she's having a dream. Anyway, are you guys gonna get what was his name?
No.
R5 Zombie.
I don't think so. I don't really do the like Droid Factory figures, but I will say I love the Halloween figures. I'm probably like in the minority here. I love them. Like
me too.
I have been so into these like holiday figures. I think they're really fun and they're a good way to, get some more use out of the molds to, hopefully spur on some more similar things down the line. So and that clone trooper from last year, the skeleton with like that green, that's one of my favorite figures, honestly.
He's great. I had to ask my wife if I'd gotten him because he went back in stock, and I was like, I think I got him last year. Because those ones, the Halloween, I think that's the only Halloween one I've got because it's just him and the Wookiee, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah, so far. And then they just revealed the new ones where it's the Grand Inquisitor who looks like a vampire, and then Cad Bane.
It's Frankenstein.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
sorry, as Frankenstein's monster, you pedants.
Yep, exactly. But it's good that those molds are getting used, right? Like, how are you gonna reuse the Grand Inquisitor? After that first figure came out.
Yeah, I love all the holiday ones because they just come out during the holiday season, and they just get added to decorations around. So I got the Mandalorian one that was in the nice blue color with I don't remember what he came with. I think he came with a Babu Frick or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. But yeah, I love the holiday ones. They're not things for your normal display. They're holiday stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Put them in the nativity scene. That's what we do. So
yeah. Runner Base makes a good point. The greenish plastic looks like it could be glow in the dark. Have they done a glow in the dark astromech yet? Yes, they have. That was like the first one they did, I think, was ever for Halloween was glow in the dark. So yeah, it could be that this is glow in the dark too. We'll find out more details on August 2nd. And then just hello to Peak Obi-Wan saying even on vacation,
Kenobi!
Back in time to catch the show. Victoria, Chelsey, Tom, and Cantinians. Hello there. Thank you, Pico B1. We appreciate you doing that while you're vacation, hanging out with us. I don't know why you would, but we're happy that you're here. So,
hello there.
There we go.
Thank you
there
for
it
joining
is.
us.
Needed that.
Yes.
The one Droid Factory guy I got was the Pride one that came out this year. I thought that figure was gorgeous.
Yeah. Really
That one
cute.
was
Love that
really
one.
fun. Yeah. He's still on my table.
Let's see here. So we also got Justin hanging out with us, tuning in from Wisconsin. Hello. And Ian is with us. Hey, Ian. How's it going? All right. So there were a couple new Hot Toys that photos made the rounds for. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those up, starting with Clone Commander Scorch. So this is, they did a regular Clone Commando from the Bad Batch about a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the same sculpt, essentially, just with a different backpack and, different weapons. But yeah, so I think people were guessing that Scorch was going to be making his way to Hot Toys since they already had the figure. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those exclusives, though. It says limited to 3,000 units only in select markets. So that's going to be really frustrating for a lot of folks.
Right.
Because they tend to just throw them up during the day, at a random time when people are working. And it's whatever. I probably wouldn't get it anyway, but for a lot of people that will be kind of frustrating.
Right.
But it looks good. He looks really good. I like what they did with him. It's an easy one for them to do at this point. But yeah, he's a good looking figure.
Yeah. I'm into it. I mean, I'm into all clones, so it's cool to see this one, and maybe we'll get the rest of the team. I mean, I don't know if that'll be sanctioned by Lucasfilm, just because I know they can be a little dodgy sometimes when it comes to things that are technically legends, but Scorch is technically canon now, so
yep.
I've only got I don't have any Hot Toys. I only have one on pre-order, and that's Darth Sidious.
Nice. Oh yeah, I remember you pre-ordered it. It's not going to be your last one, trust me.
Yeah.
Other than Scorch, there's also a very interesting one because they've never done anything like this. They've done a little Hot Toys hologram statue thing of Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace, which looks great, but it's definitely new territory because they've never done a hologram
right.
Before,
yeah.
So.
How much is that going to cost?
To be announced. There isn't any information quite yet.
That would be the neat sort of thing you put on as a night light. You're watching movies late at night. You put that in the corner and it's just this blue glow, but not if it's,
for sure
$300.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be priced the same as a regular Hot Toys, but I mean, I don't think it'll be cheap either.
Right.
Right.
But I agree though. I think this is probably the kind of thing you would just play on its own. And just have it as its own thing apart from the rest of the Hot Toys. That's how I would do it if I were to buy it. I don't think I'm going to get this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I'll give him that. It looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that Hasbro was doing similar stuff with the holocom figures, and now we're getting it from Hot Toys. But I'm surprised we hadn't gotten it before that, right?
Right. Have they done Darth Maul in those ones yet?
I don't remember.
I don't think they have. I mean, they've done like 3 3/4 inch stuff, but not
right.
I don't think they've done a Darth Maul in Black Series hologram.
Yeah,
that would seem like one that they would do, but I don't think they have.
Yeah, I would consider getting that one.
Yeah,
although
that one seems cool.
Yeah, that or Sidious.
Right. I mean, those are the easy ones, right? But when you think of that, that whole thing, those are the characters I think of. So yeah. I'm sure they're coming though, right?
I would imagine so, yeah. And Sidious could just be a darn statue that they put on the little thing. Maul is coming. Okay. All right.
Nice.
That's neat. That's a good pick.
But not a holographic Darth Maul though, unless I missed it.
I think that's what they must be referring to, because we've got plenty of Black Series Darth Mauls.
Series Maul.
Holocron. Okay, he says yes, Holocron.
Oh, cool. All right.
Oh yeah, it is there. Target pre-order. Let's see. And it's still available for pre-order. So
what? What?
It is. I know, right?
My goodness.
Which Darth Maul is it though? Is it Phantom Menace or is it like Clone Wars?
Let's see. I think it's the Clone Wars version because he's got the like mechanical legs. So I know. So it's not this version, right? That's on the screen. But hey, maybe they'll do that. Maybe it's just because the robes might be kind of difficult just because they often do soft goods for the robes. So maybe they're trying to figure out. Although they have the like the Force Ghosts, they have that like shimmery fabric for those ones. Yeah, so maybe they do something similar for these figures.
Mm-hmm. Or just get that the original release Darth Maul that came with the extra hood and stuff. They probably can't.
Oh right.
They probably can't make that the translucent plastic though because it's rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's cool. It's a cool looking thing.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely I will buy it.
Vader 762X39's asking, what do you guys think of the Sideshow 1/6 scale figures from earlier in the 2000s?
I don't know what that is.
Well, let me give you some background. Kenner then Hasbro always maintained the 12-inch, or if you prefer, the 6 scale of figures all the way from the beginning. Like that was like theirs. They licensed it out from Lucasfilm to make those 12-inch 6 scale figures. And then in the early 2000s, Hasbro somehow, I still don't understand the logistics of it, but they managed to sub-license the license for that segment to Sideshow, and then they started making figures in that scale instead of Hasbro. And they did it from like 2000, it was like 2005 or so, up until Hot Toys started doing them about 8 years later. But yeah, so there, if you look at pictures of them, I think Anakin was like one of the first ones. The likenesses aren't, and even to this day, I wouldn't say that Sideshow 6 scale figures are quite on par with Hot Toys. They're decent, but they're not quite the same. But if you look at the ones from back then, yeah, I mean they look like they're from 2005 essentially. A step up from what Hasbro would have done at the time, but definitely not, not what we have now.
Not all photo scans, 3D scans of people's faces. Back when they had artists sculpting them.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I found a photo of Anakin. Let me go and pull him up, so you guys can witness the glory for yourself.
I'm curious.
Actually, that picture is too small. Let me get a bigger one. Oh, that's.
So how about that Darth Plagueis?
Did you ever hear
plaguey guy, huh?
The tragedy.
I've got a thought, and it's the Wise is a sarcastic nickname. He's a real dope. He's just like,
yeah, Palpatine was just being rude. It was like, Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like.
Oh yeah, I remember these.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 years ago, this would have seemed pretty neat.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. The hands look, I mean, his hand, like the left hand looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The face is a little off, but, we can all pretend,
It's almost more like Adam Driver, doesn't it?
No.
It does. I think it kind of does.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
It looks like, who does he look like? I don't know. I see a little bit of Tom Cruise in there.
Oh, yeah. I guess young Tom Cruise-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, they did a Hammerhead, though. They did the Moma Nadon Hammerhead, and that one was actually pretty cool.
I mean,
oh, nice.
You can't go wrong with good old Hammerhead.
No.
Definitely not.
You cannot. What else? Lorena says it's dangerous that the Holocom Mall is still up for pre-order.
I'm so sorry for your bank account.
That's what we do here, though, right? Like we rub off on people.
Yep.
Not to be a jerk, but I think it'll be on clearance in a few months.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah. Adam says I sure did a decent Greedo.
Hmm.
Like the aliens, as I remember, were pretty good because then even now they don't really do too many aliens. Like they're doing Kit Fisto like Hot Toys is, but back then they actually did. Lorena says it's Michael Phelps. I can see that now that you mentioned. Yeah.
Are they doing like episode 2 Kit Fisto where he's charming and has that big beautiful smile, or Ugly Nightmare Revenge of the Sith one where he looks like a squid stuck on someone's head?
That one.
Gross. I'm glad that Kit Fisto died. I'm glad Darth Sidious stabbed him with his sword.
It was a Darth Sidious clone, actually, of Kit Fisto. So the real one that's smiling, he's still there.
He lives!
He lives to smile another day.
That was weird. I still don't get why they did that.
It's the same thing as like Puppet Yoda from episode 1, right? Where it's like just so they weird bug-eyed thing.
The hair, yeah.
They probably like lost the mask and were like, we'll just remake it. And they're like, look, it's got tentacles on its head. Same thing, right? Yeah, sure.
They won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, those Star Wars idiots. They don't pay attention to nitpicky details.
The only thing I can think is, in Attack of the Clones, he served his purpose as kind of like somebody you just saw really briefly. Mm-hmm. But then in Revenge of the Sith, he's a little bit more prominent. So maybe they we need to update this a little bit, give him a little more detail or something. But we went a little too far on poor Kit Fisto.
There's some plastic surgery that can't be taken away. Fillers weren't a thing then, so.
yeah, you got to do that. Use discretion when doing that. You don't want to turn into Kit Fisto Part 2.
Oh man, so true.
I
think that's it for the Hot Toys.
Sorry, my lights up there were doing something funny. I hit a button on them, so they're like flashing in and out, and I'm like, what the heck is going on up there?
Obviously, it's ghosts.
It's ghosts! Ghosts did it, guys! The ghost of Darth Plagueis the Wise! I got a cereal box stuck on my head once. I'm so wise.
Tom, I'm glad you're on here tonight. You're keeping me awake for sure. What are you drinking, by the way? What was that?
Iced tea.
Oh, I made some peach tea this week. It was really good.
Oh yeah,
that sounds good.
Peach tea.
I made like simple syrup out of the peaches, and then it was good, really good.
Andrew Wordna just asked, Palpatine was the politician in Taxi Driver 76. Always wondered if that had an influence on Palpatine. I just rewatched Taxi Driver a couple months ago for the first time in, forever. And I don't remember that scene at all, but I remember vaguely now being like, oh boy, that sure seems like an influence on Palpatine. I don't remember what it was about it though, that like, was it his face or something about it was like, oh, George Lucas definitely borrowed something from that.
Interesting.
But I don't remember the specifics on anything about it now. But yeah, that sure seems familiar.
Did he look anything like this?
I remember the first time I saw that movie in the cinema. And he just suddenly starts talking like Gollum. Like, no. And I was like, oh God. God, what is... I love it. I love the movie. But boy, howdy.
Yeah, it was definitely like if you'd never seen like Return of the Jedi, you'd only seen episodes 1, then 2, and then 3. You'd probably be like, whoa.
What's going on here?
Yeah,
that's not what I thought he was at all.
Yeah, I showed a roommate, and I showed him to another roommate 10-15 years ago now in chronological order, and he struggled with the prequels, like really had a tough time with them. But then the original ones, he's like, oh, those are fun. I get that.
That's definitely a good thing.
Oh, you got that already?
Yeah,
that figure's great.
It's so good.
We got to save the show until the end.
Okay, sorry.
I get excited too about my stuff. I'm like, oh. Anyway.
I'm always excited about Chelsey's wall because that's the dream wall.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, oh yeah.
I love this. I've said it before on the Cantina, but like IKEA, they have these great bulletin board things, and you can make it look like your own personal toy store.
Yeah,
which I love.
That's why I keep. That's why I get the retro collection ones, and I keep them all on card, and I buy multiples of them because I'm going to do that someday.
Nice.
Same thing with my Masters of the Universe Origins because they all look like they're on the same pack.
Oh, cool.
Real Ghostbusters when they re-released all those, and they're consistently re-releasing Ninja Turtles too, and that's entirely the plan. It's one day I'm going to have space, and I'm going to do that.
One day.
Yeah, but that's you've set it up. That's the idea.
Thank you. I know it was. I probably shouldn't have done it in my, Queens apartment. My landlord's gonna hate me. But that's
Where in
fine.
Queens do you live?
I live in Forest Hills.
Oh, okay, all right. I used to live in Sunnyside.
Oh, nice. That's not too far from here. So, and you said Brooklyn, right?
Yep, over in Williamsburg.
Nice. That's where I used to live. So,
where did you live in Williamsburg?
I lived in like East Williamsburg-ish. I was on like Borum Street by Francis Hamburger Sternberg Park, which is the greatest park name ever. But, I worked at Vice, so I was over by the water for
Vice
a little
is right
bit.
down the street from us.
Nice.
We're on South 2nd Street, so I think it's on.
Oh, yeah, that's the street.
Yep. Hi, Victoria.
Sorry.
Small world.
Yeah, sorry, non-New Yorkers.
Hey, Bob lives in Greenpoint.
Hey,
hi, Bob.
And Lorena lives in y'all's area too. She mentioned that a little while ago.
Oh, geez, look at that. Local Star Wars fans. Never would have guessed.
Are you guys the ones who keep, taking the toys before I get them from Target and stuff? Like,
I gave up on Target. I mean, the Targets here are just—they're
not good. They never have stuff.
Oh.
And there's like scalpers. I actually went to the Target by me, and they're like, "Yeah, somebody came in right as we opened." Bob, hello. I don't know when you were at Vice. I don't think I knew you then, but I was there like 2016, 2017-ish. Something like that.
All right, let's go and talk about San Diego Comic-Con because it is coming very soon. Next Wednesday kicks off with preview night, and then it runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hasbro's doing their big presentation on Friday as usual, and they're having their press breakfast, their annual press breakfast on Thursday morning. Chelsey, you going to be there?
I will be there.
I'm
excited to see you again this year.
Absolutely. So for next week, we will not be having Cantina Social Hour due to Comic-Con. I will be at Comic-Con. But what we're planning tentatively and still working out the details is a meetup where myself and Chelsey and others in the Star Wars collecting and toy communities will be meeting up at a dedicated location at a certain time where any of our followers are welcome to come and hang out with us, come say hello. We did this back at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim and it worked out very well. It was great to hang out with a bunch of people. So we're going to try doing it at Comic-Con. So I will be posting full details of this on Monday on my socials, and I'll put up something on my YouTube community too. So if anybody's only following me on YouTube, they'll be able to see it too. But, it's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, fun times.
That's always the best part of cons, right? Is just finding all the same people who love the same things that you do and are as obsessed as you are. So you're not like the only Star Wars person, usually in a group they're like, oh, that's the Star Wars. That's the Star Wars person over there. I don't know, man. But it's so nice to be able to chat with everybody.
Yeah, it is. It's
not be the weird one in the room for once.
Right?
Everybody's weird there. I mean, it's great. It's great.
Yep. Our people.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. And if anybody's around, stay tuned for details.
And anyone not going to Comic-Con can come to my creepy basement. It's great.
With the flickering lights.
With the flickering lights.
I can be there.
Yeah.
Basement. That's great.
Creepy basement of grumpy old Tom. Fine. There's stuff down there. Sometimes there's leaks and flooding. Who knows? It'll be a surprise.
Do you even have a basement? Like, really?
We no. There's a lower level. There's a lower level, but it's but it's not. I don't have a basement now. I can go down there and walk around in the hallways and make noises.
You have to bring the ambiance. So yeah.
You guys were talking about San Diego Comic-Con, and I just went into my creepy basement spiel. So sorry.
Okay. We're used to it. Yeah, it'd be cool if there were other versions of that. Hellrunner Base asking, still no SDCC TVC exclusive. I don't think there's going to be one. There might be a PulseCon exclusive, possibly. But so far, there's nothing announced for SDCC, so I'm not expecting it at this point, other than the Black Series exclusive, which I'm probably going to get because it's kind of cool.
What was the Black Series exclusive?
It's Darth Maul on his speeder.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
They haven't announced yet whether it's only at Comic-Con or if it'll be like a virtual as well, like it's been in the last few years. So I'll be interested to see, how that turns out. The lines there are always insane, and like you have to have like a reservation, and it's all lottery based. So, hopefully if it's like only there, I get a reservation, but who knows?
I think all those things nowadays you can just buy online, like the day of, which is smart. Yeah. Like I've gotten San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, and I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con.
Nice.
I just go online and if I want it.
Yeah, the Jazzwares like Micro Galaxy Squadron last year, a nightmare. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't get in the line, and like it sold out like instantly every single day. So
this is it, Adam, right here. This is it. This is our meetup.
Yep. Don't even have to leave the house.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, it's this. We're doing it right now.
All right. What do you guys say we jump into the Acolyte?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
Do you have a cool little intro thing with Darth Smiles? Looking handsome? Showing off those guns?
Other than the one I already showed? No, not yet. Darth Smiles. I think we should watch it again, though, just because it's
Let's do it.
So we have to.
Hello.
I also loved it when Soul is like, "You should take your mask off," and and his response is, "No, no, no."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. You've got a list in order, so I'll zip it until you get to the stuff I need to scream about.
No worries. All right. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk a little bit about each episode. There's 8 episodes in season 1 of The Acolyte. We're going to touch on each one. So we can just have a little bit of discussion of each episode. I have some notes here just on my phone that I've been working on. Like, I don't know why I even show you, can't even see it. That I've been working on over the last several days as I've been rewatching the different episodes and leading up to the finale. And then we'll talk about the very end things we liked, things that maybe, we didn't like quite as much, and then, whether or not there'll be season 2 and what we would like to see from a hypothetical season 2.
Cool.
So we're going to go ahead and start off with episode 1, which was called Lost Found, like Lost/Found.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our very first episode of this series, our very first glimpse into this series, this place in the Star Wars timeline that we've never explored in live action. This is the earliest we've seen in live action. And these are all characters that, at least, at this stage in the series, have no connections to any other characters we've ever seen in Star Wars. And I thought, this is a great, fresh start. This is something new. There's no baggage from, other stories, other characters. This is just something that, I can come into, even if I'm not a Star Wars fan, maybe, and just experience something that's doesn't have to deal with Luke Skywalker or the Mandalorian or this and that.
You don't have to explain how somehow Palpatine returned.
That too. You don't have to explain that. So I think this episode, upon my rewatch, I found it to be pretty solid. Honestly, I thought it was a good introduction to the various characters. The May and Indara and the other Jedi and into Osha, and then just kind of seeing that. I thought the prequel nods were really fun. It did have those vibes with, the Jedi Council or the Temple, at least, Coruscant with, some of the little vehicles like flying back and forth. I I thought the costuming was pretty solid. And especially like the Jedi, like it's nice to see them in this more regal looking sort of like look, right? Like it looks more Old Republic. We'll come back to that, Tom, in just a sec. And yeah, I thought just overall the costuming was really like May's costume. It just looks great on screen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like it feels like there was enough separation when you see the Jedi in this compared to like the prequels. Like, you know, it's definitely a distinct period of time because there's quite a bit of differences in terms of what they're wearing, and they have multiple costumes, not just like one set of Jedi robes like in the prequels.
Right.
Yeah. Tom, I saw you had a thought you were really excited to share.
No, sorry. Is anyone else hearing like a slight crackle?
I was also, but I don't know
too.
if that was me or not.
No, I was hearing a slight crackle for a second for like most of what you were saying there. I'm just rechecking my my headphones.
It might have been me. I think I have my phone maybe too close to the mic, so sorry.
No, it's fine. That was all. I was just like, there's something going.
Sorry.
I didn't hear a crackle, but I'll definitely watch out for the crackle. we don't want no crackles here.
No.
No
might
crackle.
Sneak up on you like Darth Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis! I can tie my own shoes now. I'm so wise. I loved. So I watched both the first two episodes back to back, like a week after they came out, because I'd been a little sore on live action Star Wars stuff for a while now. I was like, screw it, let's give this thing a shot, and I loved them. Both the episodes. I thought I loved the colors. As silly as that sounds, it wasn't just everything being gray and brown. I know technically the Jedi outfits were like light tan or something, but they looked pretty kind of yellow. So I was like, oh, they're colorful. May is in purple. The new characters I instantly identified with. I thought they were really fun. I loved that Sol, Yord, and Jecki were all very typical Jedi with their we've got to do the right thing, but they all had actual personalities. Rather than just being like, I am a stoic character and I speak in stoic Star Wars language, and like, so I was hooked.
Yeah, for sure. How cool were those droid pilots that turn into seats? Like, I was like, whoa, that's neat.
That whole
Can we get an action figure of that? Like Hasbro, like Eric, the designer for Black Series, I know you were watching that and you were like, heck yes, I'm gonna figure out how to do this.
I loved all those guys they jailbroke out of the spaceship too. I thought they were just doing, and the big clumsy robot, which I'm certain was done in CG, but looked like it was just a guy in like spray painted cardboard boxes and walking around, be like, I am the guard droid beep pop. I was like, yes, this is so dumb, but in like a fun, super retro, put together in the 50s way.
Yeah, he looked like Roth Dang. Remember Roth Dang?
Oh my God. No, I don't remember Roth Dang, and we will never speak of Roth Dang again. Somehow Roth Dang returned. No.
Roth Dang is genuinely scary. Screw Plagueis, like Roth Dang.
Not as scary as me, though.
I like that he has an Irish accent now.
Sure. Yeah. He drinks too much. Darth
Plagueis the Irish was the Dark Lord of the Sith.
I've secretly got red hair.
He could even influence the Force to create rainbows.
Yeah.
Lots of gold.
And Guinness. Tonight's casual racism brought to you by Grumpy Old Tom.
Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, what other thoughts on this very first episode, jumping into this new series? Like,
I was really pumped. I mean, like, I've been a big High Republic fan, since the publishing initiative started a few years back. And so it was cool that it wasn't just the High Republic. It's like 100 years into the future of when the books and, comics and everything from that period have taken place. So, we can kind of see the progression, downhill a little bit of the Jedi Order, you know, because we know what's coming, right? You know, the Phantom Menace and, you know, the prequels, we know what's coming for the Jedi, but like we see them in this really, you know, cool era where everybody's like, oh, the Jedi are great, but you start to get the hint that not everything is as great as it seems. And so I love that it's like setting that up. And I love the characters too, you know, the scenery, like in that little noodle shop, that first like fight scene, between May and Indara, like that is the aliens in the background, you know, I don't know, like the lighting that was in there also was just like beautiful. And, you know, like Victoria was saying, the costumes, like I think her name, Jennifer Bryan, is the costume designer's name. And like, have to give like all props to her for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one alien creature thing when at the very beginning that May gives the coin to, and he points to like where Indara is at. Like that was a really cool. I want to figure out that guy, whoever he was or she was.
They were all really, really fun alien designs, which was really nice to see. I'm a big fan of Andor, and I understand in Andor you can't have a bunch of bug-eyed aliens running around with your tight political drama. But getting to see the bug-eyed aliens in this really, really tickled my fancy.
Definitely.
And also, you got a pretty clear idea that May isn't super evil. You know, I saw people being like online, like, she should be evil and just kill everyone for evil's sake. Yeah. And I was like, well, it doesn't really make any sense with the whole story we get out of her.
Right.
Yeah, especially, you know, when I went back and rewatched it, like I you know, that made a little more sense to me because like, you know, about her story with like her mom. And then like you see like at the very end of that, or, you know, at the end of that fight in the first episode, she doesn't want to kill, you know, the bartender because the bartender has like the little kid with him. Yeah. So things like that make more sense.
And we got Nemoidians.
We got Nemoidians.
Oh my gosh, the Nemoidians, but they don't have the racist accent this time, which is great. Like, that was a victory, I will say.
Yeah. Oh, now there are two of them.
Yeah, they still sounded really good, though, I thought. Like,
yeah, I
loved it. I mean...
And seeing the girl one, like, that was fun.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Love that Trade Federation.
I love them. I love the Trade Federation.
You know, them being like, regulations? What regulations? What are you talking about?
Yeah. The cargo is more expensive than the what are the mechanics or whatever they call them.
Mechanics.
Mechanics, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So episode 2 is Revenge Justice. So this is you know, both episodes premiered at the same time. So this kind of continues the story. You know, what's happening. You know, May's on this journey to hunt down these Jedi, and now she's on this other planet. And this is where we meet Chimere, and this is where we see the Jedi kind of mobilize and try to hunt down, you know, whoever is responsible for this. Now that they kind of realize, you know, maybe it wasn't Osha, like, you know, there's somebody out there that is doing this, and who is that? What did you guys think when we first meet Chimere, like when we see him for the first time, and I mean, because he's obviously very different when you see him at that point compared to later in the show.
Yep.
How did we feel about him initially?
I mean, I love that he was literally Jason from The Good Place, right? You know, because, you know, I think it's also great, like, from, like, an acting standpoint that, like, Manny Jacinto, you know, we get him in a way that a lot of people have already seen him, right? Where it's kind of like this bumbling, like, fun, you know, kind of character. You know, and obviously that changes closer to the end where you see that's an act, but I love that they did that because I was not expecting, you know, the changes at the end, but seeing him in that like bumbling role, I think was really fun and made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I thought he was a hoot. And I think, did we all figure out pretty much right away that he was the Sith? Like he immediately says that I just rewatched it with my wife when she got back from her trip. And like he immediately quotes like the Sith code, which is one of those odd things I actually kind of do know. Mm-hmm. It's like peace is a lie. And it's like, oh, he's the Sith Lord. It's him. He's the one.
I like that they made it kind of ambiguous because, you know, obviously if it's week to week, you know, we don't really know. But, you know, people were speculating. They're like, oh, he has to be this. But, you know, you never know with Star Wars. It could be something completely different. But
I'm so glad it was him.
Yeah, I'm glad it was him.
So much.
Yeah. Did you guys notice like this when you look back at this part now, when you see him in this moment, does it look kind of familiar to when we see Plagueis kind of doing the same thing?
And Soul doing the same thing too.
Yeah, true.
Mm.
Yeah, lots of people creeping around corners.
Yeah.
That's what season 2 should be called.
Just creeper. Like the hidden thing, right? Where it's like, and you can look at it metaphorically too, you know, people aren't necessarily what they appear to be. So
absolutely.
Darth Plagueis popping up there.
Where's me whiskey? Where's me pot of gold?
Out of control. Yeah, I thought he was fun. I he was, there like drinking and like passed out and like, I mean, like anything to throw you off of him being like the bad guy, right? Like just kind of like a big goof essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this episode we see the second death, right? So the first one was Indara that May kills, but then we see she's trying to kill Torben. Right. And not having success because he's got like this force shield. There's a name for whatever he's in, whatever form of stasis he's in, that I can't remember. But she ends up poisoning him, and he takes the poison like willingly.
Yep.
And of course, we don't really get that until we see the very end of the series and kind of understand it a little bit more. But like when I don't know, like when I first like saw that, like it was a little strange for me, just like not having the context of the whole story. Like, I mean, he looked kind of strange. He looked like a kid, really, but he looked also old at the same time. Like it was almost kind of like the Wizard of Oz when you see some of like those characters in that movie, like how they look, like you could tell it's like prosthetics and stuff. like I really got that kind of vibe from it. But I'm like, why is he like what did he do that he's drinking this poison?
Yeah,
right.
It was just interesting. It was like kind of different.
Yeah, the change to his appearance, I think because it was like 8 years, right? So it's not
right.
It's not long enough. It's like he looks like a toddler in the flashback episodes. He shouldn't look like he's an ancient old man. And I'm hyperbole here, but they're like he's like bald and like he's got the beard and
right.
Like
yeah. Well, is it 8 years or is it 16? I thought it was 16, but
was it 16 years? Might have been 16.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it was 16. I think they were 8, like the girls were 8 years old at the time, and then but
I think they did say he was like in that like stasis mode for like a long time too, though, right? Like he hadn't spoken maybe in a long time. So he's a Padawan, right? Like when we see those other episodes, but how did he become a Jedi Master so quickly? Like
I don't know. That was a little weird.
Yeah, I think so. He was Master Torben is how he was referred to. So
I don't know. I never get too hung up on the differences between Knight and Master and stuff because it's so foggy and it's sort of whatever the script wants to call them. Like Ahsoka always calls Anakin a master, and then Revenge of the Sith, he's like, but I want to be a master, and that's why in the next movie I'll say now I am the master and you're not. They're Jedi. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get hung up on those things.
I gotta say though. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying I don't think that the writers and people behind it always keep it as straight as maybe they.
Yeah. I was really excited that they brought up the Barash vow, which has been seen in like the comics.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. It was very cool to like see that in kind of real life and what that would look like and how it's a Jedi who feels so guilty about something that's happened that they have to like retreat from day-to-day Jedi life, and then they're just like meditating, and to then see him, commit suicide, I think was also very kind of shocking, because it's like you see the Jedi as like these like masters of, peace and justice, and to see someone do that when they're supposed to be, enlightened or whatever was just really surprising. So it's good foreshadowing, I guess, to know that something really bad happened.
Yeah. Yeah, a great indicator for that.
Yeah.
My specific feelings on the big reveal of that we'll get to later. But
sure. Yeah, for sure.
What did you guys think of Yord? Like,
specifically
like the way that, like, even like Jackie, who's a Padawan, like kind of like treats him like he's the Padawan.
So fun.
It reminded me so much of like Hayden Christensen's portrayal of Anakin. Like even some of the like ways that he was saying lines, I was like, I could just imagine Anakin saying that exact same thing, that kind of like too cool for school kind of a thing, where he's like, oh yeah, and I know all this stuff about the Jedi, blah, 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 and I'm gonna, steam my garments without my clothes on for some reason. I was like, wow, this is really harkening back to that scene in, Revenge of the Sith in Padme's apartment.
Yeah, I thought Yord was hilarious. He just, because he's so comical, with like very subtly comical,
right?
With the fact that he's a Jedi with something shoved right up. We've got to do it this way, you see. That's what the Jedi tell us to do. It's almost a bit of a wink at the fact that Jedi have generally been portrayed as a little on the dull side, I would say. I loved him. I thought he was an absolute hoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Yord.
Love the wig too. That wig is so good.
So a lot of people online really took issue with the fact that Ki-Adi-Mundi was in this episode, like, he was alive in this time frame. What did you guys think about that?
Who gives a shit?
Yep, exactly. I mean, first of all, I hate Ki-Adi-Mundi just generally as a character. I think he's like the worst. The worst. Yeah. This man is the worst.
Yeah.
So the fact that we saw him also being the worst like 100 years before he's the worst in like the prequels, I was like, Leslie, thank you for threading that needle. Like, I really needed that.
What was the issue with him being in it? Like, I didn't understand.
There was like legend stuff that was like, oh well, they said what his birth year was, and
what?
I don't even know. Like maybe it was like a trading card. I feel like it was like a Topps trading card where it like had like the year of his birth or something, and like obviously it was like legends, but it's just like, what? Why are you guys Ki-Adi-Mundi stands? Like, how did this happen?
Everyone's favorite Jedi. The one thing he's known for is, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Right. And then the whole thing about where he's like, there haven't been Sith for thousands of years. And it's like, yes, that is the point. Like, with him saying that is showing that the Jedi had so much hubris that they didn't think that the Sith could possibly be around anymore. Like, that's George Lucas's entire point.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, guys,
I don't know.
In the prequels, the Jedi were dumb. They were dumb.
It's not dumb necessarily. I think they're just like blinded by their, what they think Jedi are, and like the name and stuff and all that. And,
I mean, they sat around in an office with Darth Sidious all the time. And they're like, I don't know. Maybe there's a Sith Lord somewhere. Maybe
the voices sound oddly similar.
Oh, boy.
Haven't they seen the original trilogy, those prequel Jedi?
Yeah. 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 Good old Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a cameo. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But it's, it's the outrage crowd, right? The people who they're, getting the clickbait, they're getting views, and they're getting paid by YouTube for it. You know, like
we do
that's
that instead on here. Like,
yeah.
really, like, lean into it. You know what I hate about the Acolyte? It's woke. Where's the white people? Where's the white men?
Yeah, in this like gigantic galaxy full of like literally any type of species, you know, it's like, where's the white guys?
In the original trilogy was full of great female characters, like that naked Twi'lek dancer and Mon Mothma.
Not Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma. She had one line of dialogue where she says, "We must blow up the Death Star." Best character ever. The depth.
It's just funny. I don't know. It's just funny that it's like taking this like political agenda and like shoving it into everything. Like they're like, oh, well, you know, all the woke people of Hollywood are shoving their woke stuff into everything. And it's like, well, why are you guys shoving your like political correctness has gone wrong into everything? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. You know, if you don't agree with me, you know, that's fine. But
yep. Your opinion's correct though. It's very
Thank you. Silly. Thank you.
Basil also just received Chiari Mundi. I got mine a couple weeks ago because he went back in stock. I wasn't going to buy Chiari Mundi because he sucks. He's a stupid character. He's an alien. His thing is, I've got a big head. Like, come on.
And a bunch of honor wives, if you read the comics that came out before the prequels actually did, which is great. Love that. Love that for him.
With regards to that figure, what do you guys think about the wrists? Because now they're doing the Black Series figures that have like those, like it just like it doesn't have like hinges. It just has like it just rotates. Did you guys notice that?
I don't know. It's kind of just not my favorite, but I don't know. It's another point of articulation, I guess, that they can talk about. So that's good. And the figure does look pretty good. Like if you look at
the figure looks great.
The face of everything, you know.
Yeah.
So
I don't hate Chiari Mundi, guys. I do. I'm secretly a big fan. I'm part of the Chiari fandom club group. I don't know.
Yeah, he says your thoughts dwell on your mother. He says it's Anakin, but then, well, I guess Anakin didn't know, but I'm sure Chiari Mundi's thoughts are dwelling on all his wives. So.
The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
That's what Yoda told me.
Yeah, but yeah, after seeing the Acolyte, though, then when Yoda says like, "Oh, hard to see the dark side," you can kind of tell like Yoda maybe knows something that he's not really like.
Oh yeah.
So I got a real specific thought on the dark side. I think it's one of the things is it like I mean they kind of come out and tell you this. It clouds the ability to see stuff, and that's also why Darth Vader's the only guy that could get close enough to the Emperor to chuck him down the elevator shaft. Because the Emperor can see everything else that's going on. When you got a dark side person there, it's like I don't really know what they're going to do. It's all foggy. But we knew what this guy was going to do. He was going to walk in front of those clones and then turn around and go, "Come on!" And then the clones are going to shoot him. He's going, "Oh!"
And everyone claps, you know. Sorry, if you guys love Chiari Mundi, like in the chat, you know, God bless you.
You are wrong, but you are entitled to your wrong opinion about Chiari Mundi.
All right, let's move into episode 3.
I'm dragging this on with all my Chiari Mundi chat. We got 6 episodes to go.
Yep.
Yes. Episode 3 is called Destiny, and this is where we get like more of the backstory on May and Ocean, you know, how who they were and a little bit about how they came to be, but not the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
We get allusions more than anything else, I guess, to how they were made, but you know that still goes unexplained.
Right.
What did we think about the witches, like that, like coven? Like we've seen Night Sisters before in Clone Wars and in Ahsoka, but you know we haven't seen like this particular coven of witches. They're different. What were our thoughts on seeing them?
I mean, it's cool to see other witches that aren't, you know, the Night Sisters. So it's cool that they're kind of expanding that lore, right? So that, you know, we know that the galaxy isn't just, you know, witches who are the Night Sisters. But I don't know. I felt like this episode was kind of one of the weaker ones for me. Just because it just seemed really, the pacing seemed off for me. And so, you know, it's obviously like a flashback, right? But I wasn't as intrigued as I had been with the first 2 episodes in that 3rd episode, but that's my own take on that.
It's entirely how I feel about it too. The both flashback episodes felt a little strained to me.
Yep.
Part of it had to do with the fact that I know we're going to younger versions of some of these characters, but all the charming versions of the characters that I've been following, I suddenly don't get them for a whole episode, and we're doing this other thing. And like, you know, so much didn't feel right about it. And I was like, getting to the end of the episode, I'm like, nothing in this makes any sense. And I know it's because later on they're going to reveal the other stuff to make it make sense, but it didn't feel like, I know Britt mentions Rashomon. Rashomon does different perspectives in ways that you were misinterpreting things that happened. This just deleted some scenes and then put the deleted scenes back in episode 7. And
now that you say that, I totally get that. And I like, obviously that's, you know, that's what they're going for, right? You know, we have these kind of like unreliable narrators in, you know, these 2 children, right? But I don't know, it just, the mood was off. I don't know. I don't really know why I was just kind of like meh from that episode. But
Jord, Jackie, and Osha and Chimere all speak generally in decent, sort of friendly, colloquial dialogue.
Yeah.
And once we get to like Jedi stuff, or the not the Sith witches, because they're just witches, right? And the witches, they all start speaking more in Filoni language, which I have a tougher time with. I think the costumes are amazing. I thought the chanting was all in English was sort of silly.
It was kind of silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's just something about that like Power of 2 song and stuff, you know, that they're like that chant and stuff. And I was just like, I don't like this. I don't know.
I liked the song. I liked it. Like if they just, you know, how like May and Osha had that other little thing they'd say back and forth.
Yeah.
Like if they just allowed it to be something like that, and the chant had been something more Latin sounding. I had a tough time with both episodes 3 and 7. I didn't hate them.
Yeah.
They weren't the sorts of things that Ahsoka would make me just not watch the rest of the show. But it was a little bit like, I think I wonder if in the main timeline they should have really amped up the mystery even more.
Yeah.
And did a bigger reveal with all of it in episode 7, if that would have helped.
Or even like left this episode for even like a little bit further down the line. Like maybe this would be episode 6 and the following would be episode 7, where they show kind of the full story.
Right.
But yeah, it just kind of felt a little bit like the episodes were a little disjointed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like it's cool. Again, it's cool that we get more witches in Star Wars and we're going to learn more about them. But the costumes and like the makeup.
Yeah.
Flawless. Mother Anastasia is flawless.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Honestly, she looked great. Great look, great costume. And I do want to figure her like in any scale.
Yeah.
She's coming out in the retro series, isn't she?
Yeah.
The retro collection.
Your favorite collection?
I know. Hey, Latoya T, how's it going? Yeah, you would rock that cosplay 100%. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I appreciate seeing backstory, you know, when there's a lot of mystery, but yeah, just the way that you're saying, Chelsey, like it just kind of came out of nowhere and, you know, occupied like this space, or, you know, we already have this other thing going with these other characters, or the current version of the characters rather, that it just feels a little disjointed, like the way that it, you know, where it was. I mean, it was interesting. It was different. I don't think it was terrible.
Right.
But it was just, it did kind of slow things down a little bit. I would say some of the dialogue that Anastasia says maybe was a little hard to follow. Like when she's talking about the thread, she says the thread isn't something you control, but then pull the thread and it changes everything. So can you control it? Like to me, it was just kind of not really jiving up exactly. But yeah, this shot of her, like when she's like walking up, it is just like a really, really cool shot.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, it's when she's talking about kind of like the thread and everything, it kind of reminded me of like the High Republic books. In the second phase, they go even further back, and they show there's this group that eventually becomes like the Nihil terrorists or whatever, but they were called the Path of the Open Hand, and they would say, we're not supposed to interfere with the Force. What Jedi are doing is unnatural. And I almost wonder if they incorporated that into this. Maybe that would be something interesting, or I don't know. It again, not to be like the mixed metaphors person, but they didn't thread the needle with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could tie all of my issues with the series to how the flashback played out and how it was laid out.
Yeah.
And it would take me a while to really figure out exactly what I would do with it, because I think the general idea is there, and the general idea works, but some of the specifics are a little murky. Needed another draft, maybe.
Yeah, definitely the writing, I would say, in some aspects of the show, needed like another set of eyes. And I'm sure it got that. I mean, it's Star Wars, right? I'm sure there were multiple sets of eyes, but sometimes it's like maybe you need like another set, like maybe somebody that's
You've seen the
has
Mandalorian,
a different background,
right?
or just something. Yeah, it comes from like a different part of the company, or I don't know. But I don't know. Or maybe there were too many eyes on it, and it just kind of got like whittled down to what it ended up being. Trevor, we're gonna get to this when we get to that episode. We'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you guys annoyed at all by the kids? I know that's one of the things some people were saying online, was that they thought the kids were annoying and they weren't really believable.
They're kids. They're fine.
They're child actors. Like, I don't know. It's people were mad about, Jake
Lloyd.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd from The Phantom Menace. And it's hard as a child actor. It's hard to direct children. They say in show business, the hardest people to work with are the children and the animals, right? So they had a heavy lift, and I think they did a pretty good job. It's not, there was a little bit of that kind of suspension of belief of them or whatever. But again, they're kids. Although I will say young Leia was very good.
Oh, young Leia was such a standout.
She was.
I mean,
like, I've got massive criticisms of the Obi-Wan series, which is mostly just tied to the budget and the runtime. But the relationship she had with Obi-Wan, like, I was dead set going into that series. Like, I don't want another Star Wars babysitting show. We've got The Mandalorian, it's babysitting. We've got The Bad Batch, it's babysitting. It better not be babysitting. It's babysitting again. And then the girl was so much fun that, like, it just, not, as Chelsey said, not everyone can be. But I thought they were perfectly fine. They did a good enough job that I wasn't like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, they're kids.
And they were really cute,
You're right though, Chelsey. Like directing kids is hard. A couple years ago, I was in charge of a movie club at our school, and I had like 5th and 6th graders, and they were making a movie for the school to see. Like, and just like, it was every day was like you didn't know what to expect, because they were just, it was fun, but it was just it had lots of challenges.
Right.
I see that the middle-aged Cuban man collecting Star Wars figures is with us. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. Saying that the All Blacks team are in San Diego and playing in 8 minutes. Doesn't give you much time to go down and watch. I heard about that, Jason, but I'm not really a sports person. So even if I wasn't doing so sure, I don't think I would go over there. But I know that a lot of people were excited about it. I've been hearing about it like on TV and stuff. So Yeah. Fematic says, I like the interpretation of the idea of the thread being an interpretation of the Force. All future shows should be at least an hour and at least 10 episodes per season. Maybe that would have helped.
45 minutes to an hour for sure, not including credits, because the credits go on for a long time now. But yeah, I remember the first thing that stunned me about The Mandalorian when I watched it was I loaded it up and it was 20 minutes long, and I was like, what? Yeah, you need more time to breathe in some of these things. Give them as many episodes as they need to get it done. I'm not certain this needed more than 8 episodes, but
right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just edited it to death. Like they had a bunch of material, but then too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe.
Yep.
I don't know.
Obi-Wan only had 6 episodes, right? And it needed to have 2 of them cut out, I would say. That's like a serious comment. There was 2 episodes where. Yeah, little Leia gets captured by the bad guys, and the next episode, Obi-Wan rescues it. Back to back, these things.
Right.
Yeah. There's a funny little tidbit. When I was, in the middle of the HasLab Cantina campaign, like I was making like a little reel for Instagram, like with a piece of this like scene where it's like the power 1, power 2, and then I came in and I said power of 8,000. And then it had like music, and that's when it showed like the Cantina, like you back the bar. But then I saw that some people were like, being just so negative online that I'm like, I'm not going to contribute to that because I don't know how people interpret it, and I didn't think it was negative necessarily, but I just didn't want to contribute to that fan flames. So I was like, nah. But I have a lot of things like that from over the years that I've never like published just because people are mean and terrible sometimes. So. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm mean and terrible all the time, but, that's just me.
That's why we like you, Tom.
But I'm a happy little leprechaun.
Oh, my God. All right, let's move into episode 4.
Sure.
This one's called Day. We're almost halfway through, and I did see somebody asking here, having a question. Do you guys like the show? Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the show.
Yeah, but we're dragging on. Yes, I loved the show.
We're getting through it. All right, so this episode is called Day, and it's in contrast to episode 5, which is Night. So at the beginning of this episode, we see Kanaka in his home or his cabin or whatever that is, and he has the symbols of the witch coven like in there.
Yeah.
Like, do we have any thoughts on why that was?
I mean, there's like lots of different directions you could go with this, but I kind of wonder if it turned into like an obsession for him, or like maybe something that when the witches did go into his head, imprinted something in there, he's just trying to figure out, his life or whatever since all that happened. So I don't know. I think there's more to be said about what that actually means.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it probably is when the witches were in his head, something left over.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you watch like, one of those like spooky movies where, the kid's like is possessed and he's drawing all these like things, like that.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. Real quick, since we're on episode 4, a problem this show had is that both Brendock and Planet with Wookiee,
Kofar
are forest planets.
Right.
And they got I was like, wait, which planet is what? I'd get a little bit confused there. But, oh, right, this is the other forest planet. I liked Kofar quite a bit because they did some of the digital matte painting stuff where the trees looked a little bit alien, and the sets made them look like they were in this kind of spooky, kind of creepy place. But you got to get away from using the same things back to back. We're going to this planet that's a desert, and this planet that's a rocky, mountainous terrain that looks like a desert. Like, no.
Right, and there's the one that Osha crash landed in, which was like snow. Like, it's always the same.
Oh,
well, that's the thing. It looked like in The Mandalorian season 2, right? When
it looked just like it
crashed. And I'm like, do they all just crash on this one snowy planet? Is that just what happens? Yeah. Are the spiders going to come out? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's in one of my gripes in like Disney Plus Star Wars is the planets, and even the sequel trilogy. Like the planets all look the same. Like, how come there's no planets that don't have a blue atmosphere, blue sky? How come there's some that don't have, like, why don't some have a red sky or a purple sky? Like, just like mix it up, do something slightly different. Why are the trees always green? Why can't they be blue? Like, I don't know, just like little things that I feel like you could tweak to really like mix it up, or even throw in like the odd planet, like Felucia, like from Revenge of the Sith, where it's like giant mushrooms and spores and stuff. Like, why not do something like that? Like, like I think they need to look at that, because every planet like they're indistinguishable. They all look like someplace like 5 miles from me, you know, like I could just like drive to. It's like, I want to see exotic at Star Wars, like show me something different. But
yeah,
anyway,
but I really liked Kofar.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was cool. I liked
the bugs.
The bugs.
Yeah. And I mean, just to kind of talk about this episode a little bit more, you know, the thing that was really interesting to me that, you know, I didn't see a whole lot of people talking about was, you know, Osha, she, you know, maybe she had just like disconnected herself from the Force or something, but on this planet, you know, she connects with one of those Umbra moths, and then it, you know, obviously it kind of comes alive because of that. And then, you know, Soul just automatically kills it. Like, you know, and I think that's, again, kind of like a metaphor for the rest of this series, where it's like he's a character who maybe doesn't think about his actions as he's doing them. You know, he's just kind of thinking, you know, I have to kill this life, which is also not very Jedi-like. So. But
also it's a bug, so who cares? Squash.
The Umbra moth might have feelings. I don't know. Like, and you know, it's the whole thing where it's like, oh, every being is connected, blah blah blah. I don't know, but that's just a little thing.
No, I actually agree with you. As soon as like the bug comes flying, I was like, they're just gonna kill this animal, aren't they? And then Osha was sort of felt bad about it. I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was like the thing I liked in the Rise of Skywalker is when there's the big snake thing that's going to get them. And instead of it just being, oh, they kill the big monster, Rey heals the big monster. And it's like, oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Let's see. Somebody mentioned, I lost it.
Did they mention me in my Lucky Charms? Oh.
You're out of control, Tom.
Oh, goodness. Here's my master, Darth Sithbeth. Oh, it's me, Sithbeth. Oh.
Did they mention my wives? Like...
I'm an adult.
He only had, so during the Acolyte, Kidimundi only had probably like 6 wives. He didn't have like all 12 of them yet.
Right. You know, he's slowly but steadily repopulating the planet due to the fact that there are very few males born. I know that is like insane, stupid lore, but like that's why he's allowed to have wives, apparently.
This is why we need to go back and change some of that old lore, guys. Some of it's really dumb.
Oh yeah, like 1,000%. Like I completely agree.
Yeah, and it's like so obscure. Like y'all were saying, like a trading card. Like, I mean, even back then it was obscure, and it wasn't like in the movie or, you know, in the novelization in most cases either. So it's like, anyway, Fatmatic, how's it going? Good to see you. Says Karlak was the name of that ice planet. Sounds kind of like Sarlacc to me.
Cardiac.
Hey, yeah, and don't mention the Sarlacc.
Heyo.
Very nice. And you know, that's another, like, I was talking about planets and how they all look the same. Like the names in Star Wars kind of all like these days, like I always think of like Marok, you know, like the green gas like bad guy in Ahsoka, like Marok, and then there's Galen Merrick, you know, from Rogue One. And then there's Anton Merrick. No, Anton is from Rogue One. Galen is Starkiller. And then there's Vel in Solo, and then there's Vel is from Andor, I think, right? Or is it the other way? And Val is Vel and Val. I forget which is which.
Vel Sartha is the one in Andor, and then Val was the one who was in Solo.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know why I know these things.
These are the kind of things, that I should know. But it's like so similar. Like
right.
It's like divvy it up a little bit more. Like, come on. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here again. Anyway, so this is the episode where at the very end we see the stranger for the first time, or not the first time, but we see him like the first time, like where he comes in to interact with.
He arrives like this.
The Jedi. Yeah. What did we think about his entrance?
It was great.
So
very
good.
spooky.
So good. Like anime.
Yeah. You know, because he like floats down and he looks
down.
like the Grim Reaper, you know, with that costume and like the robes and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the helmet also. Like, so cool. And I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit too in the next episode.
Yeah. That was really cool. I love that introduction. I mean, I like, you know, the creepy things and, you know, she's like kind of like, like a ghost.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so sad though that that's where they stopped it. And then we had to wait an entire week to see. Ugh, hate that.
Yeah. We had to wait a whole week. All right.
It was fun waiting week to week for a new show, not just binging it all at once.
Yeah, that's true.
I disagree. I can talk about that at the end just because, you know. But.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, generally I don't binge things anyway because I just don't like have time to, but I know a lot of people love to like watch like 10 things episodes at a time. So the next episode 5 is called Night. And this is where, you know, like things go down where stuff gets real. And it completely changes the dynamic of this series because of, you know, all the action, and it's just pretty cool. It's a pretty cool episode. So, you know, we pick off from what you were saying, Chelsey, this big cliffhanger where we're not seeing, you know, what the stranger's going to do next. But then in this episode, we see very quickly that the Jedi are in over their heads with this guy. He means business. He's not playing around. He is here to kill him some Jedi, and he's very successful at that.
Yep. Also not, you know, it's not good that the Jedi have been, you know, had peace in the galaxy because clearly they have not been really practicing.
Yeah. That reminds me of like what in The Dark Knight Rises, what Bane tells Batman before he breaks his back. He says, peace has cost you your strength and victory has defeated you. And it's kind of I should have known that was going to happen.
I loved Bane.
I can tell. Yeah, so what do we think about that fight?
Awesome. Sorry.
The choreography is just like the blending of like martial arts with, you know, kind of the force aspects of like the Jedi and, you know, the stranger. I guess you can call him a Sith. But yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. And also to see him kick the butts of so many Jedi like all at once. Yeah. You can see the power that he has, right? Mm-hmm. From tapping into the dark side.
Yeah, it was just a really, really, I mean, I thought they were going to kill Soul because what you always do in these things is you kill the mentor, right? And then the young plucky heroes, no, a young plucky girl dead. Stick in the mud. Dead. I know.
I was like, oh my God, she was dead. She was dead. You didn't have to keep going. Oh man. Oh, yeah, man. No, I was surprised that they killed basically everyone off.
Yeah.
I was not expecting them to do that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's great. Really, really, really caught me off guard. Yeah. I loved it.
It really mixed things up, and it was a great fight. Like just his style, like he's so unpredictable and like brutal. Like he doesn't even care. Like he's just gonna like, you know, he's gonna do whatever he needs to do to kill you, and it's very easy for him. So it's yeah. We hadn't seen anything like that before in live action. It was the thing that comes closest to it, and like, and it's an animation for me, is like when in the Tartakovsky micro series Clone Wars, like you see Grievous going after all those Jedi. Like to me, like that's like the closest that I feel like we've seen. But yeah, but totally. it was rad. Like I was thinking about it, like and replaying it, like.
Yeah,
great
Plus
choreography.
the Cortosis helmet and like the gauntlet that he was wearing, like that just adds into, you know, the coolness of it. Because it's like, well, what could someone have that a lightsaber doesn't work with? And obviously we know Beskar at this point, but you know, it gives you a few more questions to ponder.
Totally.
And not then when he's unmasked, all of his dialogue was great. Like really just great dialogue.
Amazing.
So like
yeah, again, a testament to Manny Jacinto's acting, that he's able to, as Kymir, be this like goofy guy, and then he is dead serious as, the stranger.
I refuse to ever call him the stranger. I'm going to stick with Baby Yoda.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad they took the mask off right away. I mean, I like the mask, but Victoria knows Star Wars just has characters that are main characters that just wear masks. I don't like them. Let me see the face. Let me see the emotions. Let me
exactly
see the acting.
Yep. Because it takes so much more if you're just voice acting to portray emotions and stuff. So it's nice to actually see his face. And
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Britt here. She was a child. You brought her here. He kept owning Soul, and it was great because
he's right.
He is. The take the mask off. He's like, why don't you take your mask off? Like
no.
Now, you need to get that helmet now so you can do that.
I'm really tempted.
I pre-ordered it. His dialogue was really good. And just the delivery of all of it too. Like, oh man, I got to go back and watch it. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun, and the cortosis thing was really cool too, because I first heard of cortosis back when they were doing the Darth Bane novels like 20 years ago, and those were great. I mean, I really liked that trilogy. It was very interesting, but that's where it was in that novel, like they were like mining the cortosis and stuff, and to actually see it like it's like, oh wow, it's kind of a deep cut that they're bringing into like live action. That's kind of cool.
And that's the other thing, like the critiques that are usually leveled at these kinds of things, where it's like, oh, they're not paying attention to Legends content, but like Leslie Headland put so much Legends stuff in this and like canonized it. It's like, why are you guys complaining? This has been huge for people who really like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea what the heck cortosis is or was. I was just like, oh, it's a thing they've gotten. It screws up lightsabers. Cool.
Right.
That's neat.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. Just shorts them out for a little bit, and then they come back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob is asking if they're going to re-release Darth Plagueis. I would bet they'll wait. I don't know. I don't know if they will. I think he's talking about, it's old Darth Plagueis here. Let's do the river dance.
Oh my god, and the lightsabers where it's like that little tiny, and the way the fluid motion where he's like undoes them and like goes like this, or when he like puts them back together, I thought that was a great touch.
It was.
It helps that he's really handsome.
Oh my god, we could talk about that in the next episode, but like
I can't deny it.
The floppy hair, the wet floppy hair. Love it.
Sign me up for the dark side.
Oh my god, Raylo's died. Like yeah.
They ate.
They ate.
Yeah, no, the lightsaber was cool. I want that somebody to make that lightsaber. So, and it for it to, I mean, I don't know how it would do the same thing exactly, but yeah, it was cool that he had a Shoto blade, but he used it sparingly, right? Like he used it like when he needed to, and then he was like, okay, it's not working here. And he just like he's not like being just like, I mean, he is flashy, he's really flashy, but he's not like, he has a specific intent. If it's not working, well, then he adapts, which is keeps it a little bit more realistic.
It doesn't feel as flashy as like the prequel stuff, where a lot of the time the whole point is just to hit the other sword in as flashy a way as possible. And I love them. They're gorgeous scenes, but a lot of the time it's like, we'll just hit the swords and spin and hit the swords, rather than it feeling like they're really trying to get it somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, like if I really interpreted like A New Hope. Totally, they were just like tapping each other's lightsabers, but like the prequels is very well choreographed. Like it's a little more like deliberate. But Yeah. Anyway, what did you think about the hair cutting? May cutting her hair at the end, like the way
that's not realistic. I don't know. Not to be like in Star Wars, everything has to be realistic, but like, man, the smell of burnt hair, not good.
Isn't that what samurais do?
If they've done something dishonorable, I think is usually what they do. But yeah, like
I forgot that it even happened.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but it was like when you see it play out, it's a little over the top, like the purple like, and the music. It's like that wasn't really necessary.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so I think that pretty well covers episode 5 nights. So let's move on to episode 6 called Teach Corrupt. This is where we kind of get more into that, Chimera, who's like basically kidnapped Osha at this point, taking her to some like planet she doesn't know. Another planet that looks like so many other planets in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Even looks like the one that, that other satellite Jedi temple was on that we'd seen a couple episodes earlier. I thought it was the same planet at first. Because it's like an island with like waves and the skies are gray. But
looks anyway, like Octo.
It looks like that too. But
let's call it Planet Sexy Times.
Perfect. You should send that to Leslie Headland and just let her know that's what it's called now.
That's the official name. You can mark it down here first as a first. Planet Sexy Times.
It's canon now. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we see this Osha and Chimera relationship kind of build and play out in this episode. We find out things about him. He was a Jedi. And he has a very specific philosophy on things. He's had some experiences and he's got scars on his back so
you can heal him.
Okay, we'll just talk about it. He takes off his clothes. We see him without clothes. And he gets in the water. He's like, if you're not going to get in, then can I get out and get dressed?
And she's like, no.
Yeah, no, it was very fanficky, but honestly, work. I'm there for it. But I'm also, very, very cheesy like that. The whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll go away with you, sir.
Let's do it. We haven't done that properly in these things because we almost got there with one of the movies that I don't remember what it was called, but then didn't. So let's do it here.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Great fun. Yeah, I loved it. That episode was great.
Yeah, and he, him just basically being like, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil, and I was like, yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But he kind of describes it in a way that makes sense rather than just saying it on a floating platform in a lava river.
Right.
From my point of view, it is the Jedi who are the ones that are the bad guys.
But, the other great thing was that he is bringing those kind of like Sith code elements in too, where he's talking about, I can't remember the line, but it like ends with like desire. And it's just like, obviously that's meant to be also like a little sexy illusion there, but like it goes along with the Sith code and, acknowledging your emotions and using them to power you. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Wrong. No, completely.
Yeah. And it's interesting too to see like the dichotomy of him versus like before when he's like in disguise. But then you think of all the other Sith, like, they all kind of had that kind of dual personality sort of thing when they were trying to be someone else, like Palpatine, and even like the Darth Bane novels, like, during his day job, he was like a guy. Plagueis was just like a banker, like, he had his own thing going, like,
right.
And then like at night, he like wears the robe and he's like, he's Darth Plagueis. Pull him out, Tom. We got to see him again.
Oh, where's me lucky charms? I'm going to kiss the Blarney Stone today before going home to good old Chimera and his new girlfriend. La-di-da-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-di-di-di-da.
The Blarney Stone?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Don't worry, guys. I'm here all night.
And he does birthday parties.
And I do birthday parties. Invite me to your creepy... You can come to my creepy basement. You'll do birthday parties where I'll have my little action figures kissy kiss. Smoochy smoochies.
Oh my God. You're gonna get us demonetized, Tom.
Late.
Yeah.
gosh.
So anyway, I really like the dialogue here too. I loved like hearing like, he's not just like being bad. Like, I mean, a lot of the times with bad guys and some of this stuff, like it's very surface level. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's the bad guy. But like, when you hear them kind of expound on why, they've taken a different path, why they've been pushed to the decisions they've made, like in a logical way, it makes them more appealing. It makes them a little more relatable. And I think they accomplished that with Chimere.
Very seductive. It really felt like, this is a good way to seduce someone to the dark side. And I loved that because I'm sorry, Revenge of the Sith didn't do it for me. Like I watched Anakin go from just kind of a boring guy to I'm gonna go kill kids in like the flip of a hat. And the explanation is Darth Sidious being like, I know a secret magical spell that no one else has ever heard of and I haven't brought up before now and you're just finding out about now. And it's like, what? Huh? And this is like, he's seducing her by pointing out that the Jedi, were full of crap, which she sort of figured out herself, and then offering her a better path, a more effective path for what she wants in her life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, like it's a little odd that she isn't as upset that Yord and Jecki got killed, but then again, they're Jedi, and the Jedi are responsible for her entire trauma in the past. So
right.
Yeah. And his line of thinking is kind of in line with what you hear from like Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith, where he says, get away from the dogmatic view of the Jedi. Like, they genuinely believe like that their way of approaching things is legitimate, and this was a good. I love when he says that. She's like
semantics. Oh, such a good line. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also interesting because I do think that it's going to do a very good form of retconning, which I'm not like mad about retconning, but like I think we're going to actually see from hopefully season 2, exactly what's going on about, Darth Plagueis and how he figures out how to create life and stuff like that. So it's cool to kind of see that potentially coming down the road and maybe fixing a little bit of that like weird ambiguity that's within the prequels.
Yeah, that would be cool to see. And I was very much in the camp. It's like, we're not going to see Darth Plagueis. That would be dumb. We don't need to see Darth Plagueis.
Yep.
But then he shows up and I squeaked. And also, like, I read that book. I liked reading that book. But that book is full of like so much connective tissue between trading cards and role-playing games and comic books. And like, there's just chapters and chapters of that thing where it's like, yes, the Rushi Gigi tribe has finally joined the Mooly Googlies. And I'm like, I don't, what the heck is any of this stuff? And like half the book is that. And I have to look it up. And I'm like, oh, it's from some other thing. Like, what are we doing here? So like, we can get rid of all that. I hope, because I like all the stuff where he's a creepy banker dude. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. He doesn't show up till episode 8. We're still on episode 6.
Yep. Sorry.
You guys are just so excited about that guy. All right, we'll get to me eventually.
That guy.
Yeah. So, at this point in the story, May is pretending to be Osha on Soul's ship. Should he have known that was May? Did he know all along? Was he like, how did he not figure that one out?
I think he figured it out. I think he knew.
Yeah. I don't know when he knew, like if he knew like right away or whatnot, but
when he picks her up from the planet, he just says, "Where's your sister?" He doesn't say, where's May? Where's your, I think he figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would hope that he would be able to tell like his former Padawans like Force signature or whatever. But I mean, they have the same, symbionts or whatever.
Right.
In the high M count.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I kind of the only like logical way I can explain that maybe he didn't know was that, you know, what he later says in later episodes that, you know, they're the same soul that was like separated.
Right.
So maybe he can't tell, but then is it possible Basil told him? Because we see him like sneaking around on the bottom of the ship.
Yep.
Well, Basil certainly knew.
Yeah.
Basil knows all.
Yeah.
I loved Basil. He was cute.
Great little guy.
Yeah, he was fun.
He was different for sure. Anyway,
I mean, she has a big stamp on her forehead, right? So.
Well, I didn't even realize that until like I did my second rewatch, because I was like, wait, where did her little stamp go? Like they hide it really well with like the bangs. At least I think so, until like she's on that like bed. But maybe I'm just not very perceptive. So that could be the case.
Could just be the bangs. I mean, bangs are responsible for many tragedies in this world.
So true. Like, take a look at me in high school with those emo bangs.
I'm picking on my wife who's sitting here and has bangs. I love them.
Basil smelled the burnt hair.
Yeah, Basil smelled the burnt hair. Yeah.
It could be. He has a very good sense of smell.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into episode 7. Episode 7 is The Choice. And this is like, I think of like, if you guys remember, like Paul Harvey's like, now you know the rest of the story.
There you go. Yep.
So, okay. So here we get, you know, a lot of people were complaining about this. It's kind of the same thing, but from a different point of view. Right. But it fills us in with, you know, what exactly happened. Finally, they've been teasing it over and over. It was starting to get a little frustrating. They were like teasing that, you know, this was coming for so long, for so long. And then finally it came. But yeah, so we see exactly why the Jedi are on this planet. You know, they have metal detectors and they're looking for signs of life. And, you know, how did this planet overcome, what did they say? It was like a hyperspace disaster or something.
Yes, which is in the High Republic books. It's like one of the very first things that happens. So I guess spoilers if you haven't read the books, but
I don't know how to read.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so we see what went down. You know, Soul came across May and Osha's kids like under this tree, and he saw they could use the Force, and he saw that there were other, you know, witches, and he goes and spies on them. He breaks into their house essentially and like kind of like goes in and looks around, and he sees that they're being trained, and then, you know, he goes back to camp and he tells the other Jedi like what he saw. And he convinces them all to go with him so that they could see for themselves. So they break in again because they open up the elevator and, you know, get in there. And then basically they're like, okay, we're going to test the girls, right? Like,
yeah.
And it's weird how like Indara says it too. She's like, you know, like we have the right to do it, but with your permission.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was weird in both of them.
I mean, it also gets into this thing where it's like, it is kind of weird that the Jedi just go around the galaxy and kind of steal people's children.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I thought that, like, the Clone Wars showed us that's just what they do, right?
Right.
Yeah, them being like, we don't go stealing children. It's like, I thought you did.
Right.
Oh, maybe.
Well, it's also very strange to me that Soul feels like this connection with Osha, like, immediately. I don't know if they're going to give a little bit more information about that or what's going on there, but I thought that was a little weird. But
I don't disagree there. I think that they were hinting that he really wanted a Padawan, and that's why Indira commented on the fact that he didn't have one yet.
Oh, sure.
And so I think they probably could have expounded on that a little bit more to make it a bit more clear. Like some of the motivations here, like Torben's whole motivation was just like, well, did you just pull this out of your butt here? Like, I didn't even know who this dude was. He showed up in an episode and died, and then he's got this whole thing about, and it's like, I think you should have done a bit more with that if you wanted to buy into his whole thing. Or you could have just cut Torben out because Torben is like Kiadi Mundi and sucks. You know it to be true. Search your feelings.
The Torben suckometer. He's off the scale. No.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So yeah, so Torben, as we saw earlier in the series, he took the poison willingly because he felt, seemingly guilty about whatever he had done. And we see what happens. So like he basically takes off and he just wants to get proof of, he wants to go back to Coruscant, right? So he wants proof that, there is life and there's this thing with the Virgins and, May and Osha. And I don't know what his plan was. Was he going to kidnap them? Like, what was he going to do?
Yeah.
Was he going to, because he knew how these witches were, right? They got into his head already. So like, what was he going to do alone? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, was he right? Was he right to feel so guilty that he would kill himself over his involvement in what happened?
I don't know. I mean, like, I guess it's hard to say. Everybody kind of experiences like the trauma differently, and potentially, when Mother Anastasia was like in his head, like who knows how that kind of affects people's emotions and things like that. And maybe he was just, I don't know, not to be annoying, but like maybe he really did have like PTSD from that moment.
Right.
And it's also like the failure of him as a Jedi, right? It's like I was too busy trying to search for meaning that maybe wasn't there, or like trying to feel like an important Jedi, that I then, made these mistakes. And I don't know. I guess there's also a lot about the Jedi and their concept of forgiveness and how they, are supposed to forgive themselves, like let it go. And it was interesting that it just didn't seem like he could do that.
I agree with all that, but I also think it just needed another work through in the drafting.
Sure.
To make it like to make him more of a character somewhere. Maybe the way to have done this is get rid of episode 3 and spread flashbacks out throughout most of the thing.
Oh, good. Yeah, good point.
And then episode 7, you're piecing them all together with the off-screen stuff. Maybe that would have helped. But yeah, Torben, I was just like coming in at the second to last episode being like, he's got this whole motivation. And then he does it. Didn't work for me. It didn't take me out of it too much, but I was a little bit like,
right. Same. Yeah, it's a little clunky. I like what Britt says, though. I think this is pretty good, rationalization. Like, I think the witches getting in his head contributed to that guilt, and he felt like everything was his fault, all that death. Yeah, because the council had said not to interfere again, right? And that should have just been that. But because he made this choice to go back, well, he may not have gone with the intent to kill anybody, but that was the result, regardless of what his intent was.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is its own creepy thing, right? Where Indara's just like, oh, all of them using their witchy powers to control the Wookiee character, Kilnaka, and then her just being able to go in and just kill them all was yikes.
Yeah. I wonder, part of me is like, was that an accident? Like, she didn't really know that that's what would happen, but she's obviously a very powerful Jedi if she can remove all those witches from, whatever spell that they're doing to Kilnaka. So
yeah, I thought it was just they knocked him out and that was going to be revealed that they were alive, but that wouldn't have made any sense with May's whole journey. So I guess they're all dead, but that was like, I'm not opposed to a force power being used like that. That's kind of neat, but it certainly caught me off guard.
Right. It's very dark-sided, right?
Yeah, it's very dark side, but like in a way that's so extreme that like if you can do that, why bother with a lightsaber? It opens up some questions about things, but the only reason she could do that is because they were in his head, so it's going into his head to break them out. I'm not certain. It's the Force. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting also that it does echo those themes of like the High Republic books, where a lot of the characters, they have trouble forgiving themselves, and a lot of, as the books go on, they learn how to do that and not succumb to the dark side and stuff. So I wonder if we'll get any of that within here, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, Adam.
Yep.
Yeah, so I didn't really get that, like how she killed, like it's weird because like all the witches are in unison, they're kind of like getting into Kelnaka's head, right? And making him do these things, making him fight against his friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, like how they all like just like fell over and like Ring Around the Rosie style, right? They just like fell over and then like died.
Right.
Like, how did that happen? Like, was their connection like so like strong that it just broke and they just short circuited? Like, I don't know. It's
Right.
interesting.
It's
mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Tom.
It's one of those things that I think is an interesting idea, and while I tend to not want more lore dumped into exposit this sort of stuff, that one I had a hard time with. And a bit more exposition there would have helped me. Someone had suggested they were knocked out, but then no one saved them from the smoke and the debris. That would have worked. But like I need to be told that somehow.
Yeah. I will say it was really cool when the alien character, who was kind of like front and center in the shot, just like falls over like a puppet. I loved that.
Yeah. It was a great scene.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's like all the ideas behind it, I'm 100% on board for it. It's just I needed a bit more explanation as to how this is supposed to be working.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool as heck.
Yep.
How cool was that? Yeah. To see a Wookiee like Jedi fighting other Jedi. It was pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need figures of Kelnaka too, like definitely.
Oh, cool. For sure.
How happy are you though that they didn't have him pull Torben's arms out of his sockets? Like that would have been a big groan for me. Oh no, my arm is out of my socket, just like Han Solo says in the original Star Wars movie.
Well, not to like lore dump again, but like there is this like concept of like the Mad Claw Wookiee culture where it's, very forbidden for a Wookiee to use his claws like on another being's like flesh, and then they often will go off in their own like isolation. So I guess that's probably kind of what Kelnaka's deal was, I guess.
Oh, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I didn't need the lore for that. That seemed pretty
Yeah. No,
clear.
for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
How much at fault do you think Mother Quarrel was for all the death that occurred? Like, had she gone in, as Anasay had suggested, and just, be peaceful, no violence, like, was she also like largely at fault for all the death that occurred?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
yeah, she and the Jedi were the same coin, right?
Yep.
Sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Like
they're both like, let's go in guns blazing.
Yep. And just like not thinking, and obviously it's because she cares about, her children, and she says like, I was the one who carried them. Mm-hmm. So, it makes sense why she'd be a little bit upset, but it was interesting that Mother Anasea had such a like calm, rational kind of thought process. And Coral was just like, no, they're dying today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Indara and Soul, right? The same similar dynamic.
Yep.
True. Good point. I was listening to an interview with Leslie Headland the other day, and she was talking about, when like Anasea is disappearing and then May is disappearing, like that's like another version of becoming one with the Force, like Obi-Wan does in A New Hope.
What?
Yeah, but that you do it and maintain like your physicality somehow. Like you can do that, but then I guess she didn't say this, but I'm assuming you could reappear somehow.
The Sith witch, the witch.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I thought you said Indara. Sorry, I confused.
No. So I mean, I thought that was interesting because as far as I know, like that whole thing with Obi-Wan disappearing was like something that like he learned from Qui-Gon, I think, like learning how to become one with the Force. So like the way she described it in this interview was like that's another way to do that. So more stuff that kind of didn't really get like expounded on that maybe should have been explained a little bit better.
Didn't Mother Talzin do that in the Clone Wars?
Yeah,
she had something similar to that. I don't know if it was the exact same thing, but
I think it was. She just turned into a mist and moved somewhere else.
Yeah, Yeah, different color. It was green then, but like, I
Right,
think it's same stuff, right?
Yeah, I thought that was the same thing. I thought she was just kind of moving herself.
Or pulling the sword out of nowhere, out of thin air.
Did she do that?
In Ahsoka, they did it. They did that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch Ahsoka.
Yeah, we know. Anyway. So was Soul right in the choice to, when he saw that, wait, he didn't know what he was seeing, right? Like he had never seen this before, this power where you could go, kind of disintegrate, and he saw that happening to who he thought was O'Shea. We know it was May.
Mm-hmm.
Was he right to activate his lightsaber and make that move?
No, but it's an understandable mistake. He thought he was being attacked.
Yeah.
I think he thought he was being attacked by something he didn't understand.
Right. And again, it's hubris of the Jedi. They think that they're kind of like the arbiters of everything to have to do with the Force. And so I guess they probably don't talk a lot about like witches and Force cults and stuff like that. So he made a split second very bad decision there that cost him for the and that's what the story was about. He done screwed up.
Like Lorena's saying, like it was like Loki disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
A different kind of disappearing, but yes. And I still think about that though, because I went to Galaxy's Edge last month, and I was there alone, and I did single rider on the Millennium Falcon ride, and it was like single rider. You just get on and get I got on 3 times in a row within like a short amount of time, and every single time I ended up as the engineer, and like that's the job nobody wants to have on that ride. So I really did feel like Loki by the end of that, because it was, no matter how many times I did it, it was the same result. Howrunner Base, you're right. He was really good with that saber.
Mm-hmm.
He had some really slick moves. I would like to have seen him matched up with Chimere, honestly.
Yeah,
that would have been an interesting duel. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that other than the Jedi, they obviously covered up, what exactly happened. And, that's a whole other, like, when you're thinking about like the Jedi, like of the prequels, like it's hard to, I mean, for me personally, it's hard to like mesh those two different things up like them. But I mean, I guess when you really think about it, not 100%, but it was just an interesting thing. Like, it was, I haven't read like the Old Republic books or the High Republic books. So I don't really know like if that's how they are in those books, like kind of like that conspiring and stuff. But it was just a different take, like an interesting dynamic to see that, I didn't know that they would do, I guess.
Yeah. It kind of speaks to like the very human nature of, being in a group and kind of like, you do something wrong and then there's like this whole institutional failure kind of a thing where it's like, oh, we have to keep this quiet so that the Jedi aren't interfered with by, the Senate and the Chancellor. So, obviously they're trying to protect the Jedi Order, but, it's at the cost of being truthful and, doing the right thing. So,
but they still think they're doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And I loved that about it. That was one of the things like they hinted at in the prequels, when the prequels were like, maybe it's time to tell the Senate about our ability to use the Force diminishing because of Sith Lords. And then them being like, no, we can't do that. Our enemies shall multiply, in that brilliantly written dialogue. But it's sort of that going on. And I love that. I love the idea of the Jedi being these infallible, magical, always good people. I just find so impossibly dull.
Right.
There's not a single thing interesting that I can imagine being done with that.
Yeah.
And from the stuff that I've seen that involves Jedi being like that, I stand by that feeling.
Yeah.
I like this comment from Britt. I like the turnaround when Indara, where she starts off saying she doesn't say things to ease her Padawan's mind, but then we flip to her making the big lie to ease Osha's mind. That's interesting. We didn't touch on the lightsaber whip, but anyone want to comment on that?
Neat.
It's cool. That's like Vernestra's thing in the books, you know, but there's part of it where she's like, oh, this is a little bit dark-sided, but, you know, she actually doesn't tell anyone about her light whip for quite a while because she's afraid that people will tell her that's bad. So very interesting. I'm glad that they showed that. And then obviously you see Chimere's back and you're kind of
what were they up to?
Oh,
yeah,
like that doesn't look like a lightsaber mark, you know. Yee. Like
what do you guys
something?
What do you guys think of the yellow sabers? It's curious how like we don't see them at all in the prequels. You know, in the Clone Wars you do, but in the prequels, like not at all. But then all of a sudden, there's all these Jedi 100 years before they have yellow sabers. Like, why?
Maybe the kyber crystals that glow yellow. Just too many people got them. You know, on Ilum, and they're very rare now. I don't know. That's how I'm justifying it.
Sure. Yeah. Not the sort of thing I ever think about. The bad guys have the red ones, the good guys have the other colors.
Yeah. I love the yellow. I mean, like the colors also, you have to like that scene when they're in like the jungle and they're fighting.
Oh yeah.
You know, because it's dark, you can really see the color of those lightsabers.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful.
It was. Yeah, I like the yellow sabers. I think they were neat.
Yeah.
Rey has the yellow saber, so they're not like
that's right.
extinct, but,
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're fun.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing I never have. When I was a kid, it didn't even click in my head that Luke had a different color saber in the first two than he did in the third one. It wasn't like, oh my God, this one's green. Because it was always a colored toothpick in my action figure. So
right. Yep.
Yeah, the bad guy has the red one, and yeah, it wasn't until later I was like, oh shoot, it's a different color. Like the sort of thing I just don't pay any attention to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those little like in cocktails. Sometimes they have those little colored swords that go into the cherries.
Yep. Yeah, because remember the figures I had, they had it was the thing you slid out from the hand. So, and I lost the original swords like instantly. So it was always a toothpick that I took a marker to.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, this True Funeral Motors, like, yeah, I mean, it does seem like they leave some sort of an imprint that could have contributed to their state of mind after.
Yeah, would have been nice to see a little bit of that, other than dead.
Yeah, I haven't read these comics yet, Howlrunner base, but yeah, I'm aware that Luke did have a yellow Temple Guard saber.
Well, his original action figure it's a yellow saber,
right?
And the Luke from Empire Strikes Back had a yellow lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the vintage line, when they made like the toy lightsaber, like the role play one, it was yellow. So.
Oh yeah, and it was just a tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original one was a flashlight with just a straight up tube. It didn't taper or anything like that. I had one of those. I went as Darth Vader when I was like 3 or 4, and it was that awful plastic mask with a bright yellow chest that just had a picture of Darth Vader on it. And I was like, I don't know why Darth Vader has a picture of himself on this thing. This is pretty dumb, but I'm getting candy, so okie dokie.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the final episode, which was called The Acolyte, same as the series. This one was my personal favorite episode.
Tough to beat.
It was very Jedi, very Sith, and Force focused, which I liked. I enjoyed seeing, with a bit of the galactic politics thrown in.
I wanted more of that. When we got it, I was like, I wanted more of that in this.
Same.
It was like, I'd heard that guy's name get mentioned, and I was like, we should have seen more of this earlier, because it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I mean, the first episode 1 is about trade regulations and taxes. I'm like, where are my trade tax laws in the Acolyte now? But I really do agree. Like I was sad that it didn't have more of that political intrigue, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to take over the show, but you had the hints of it a little bit more, because it shows. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Also, Vernestra's shifty as heck. She's so shifty.
Oh yeah.
I spent the whole series being like, she's the bad guy, right? She's the real bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because in the books where she's like a teenager, she's like a very precocious Jedi, and she's like the first person to be, or the youngest person ever to be knighted as a Jedi and stuff. And she's very by the rules and stuff. But as the books go on, she starts to kind of get a little less by the rules. She gets a little bit more jaded. But to see her now, like 100 years later, where she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna lie. Like, whatever. I have to protect the Jedi somehow. That was fascinating. And someone in the chat was talking about the actress who did Vernestra, and I have to say I agree. Like, she was like the weakest actor, I think, in the whole thing.
Yeah. She felt very prequel Jedi-ish.
Yeah. Just very like one-dimensional, I think, as a character. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I guess if you live that long, you kind of get into like you know what works and what's not going to work. So it's like, oh, I gotta lie. I really liked the the pursuit of Soul chasing May, like through those rings, like those ice rings of that.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool.
I was watching and I was like, there's absolutely no reason, like the rings are so little that he can't just fly above them and easily see her. And then but it looks cool, so who cares? It was a cool sequence.
Yeah, maybe he would have gotten around Basil sabotaging him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
I don't know.
Am I the only one? I think Basil smells the changes in the Force.
Interesting.
That's why he knew it was May and not Osha. And also that's why he sabotaged Soul's ship when Soul was going to blow May up, I think.
Right.
And when the Jedi are going through the Forest at the end to try and get to them, he smells something and he picks up steam when Osha's turning to the dark side. So I think that's the thing that he senses.
I was talking to a friend who his take was that because when we see that, you see the targeting computer like go homing in on May's like her vehicle or ship, and then we have cuts to like Basil like looking at that and seeing that, and maybe he thinks that he's gonna like shoot her down or attack, and that's why he pulls the plug. But
that's what I thought he was gonna do.
Yeah.
I thought he was shooting her down.
Yeah. And it's like
I
don't know. It's kind of like another thing where, people like some of the Jedi were kind of like derisive about, Basil. Obviously, this is a creature who doesn't speak the same language. And, maybe they also, everyone is rude to droids for some reason, like all the time. So it kind of feels like another kind of echo of that, where it's like, okay, people look down on these creatures for, not being as elevated as humans are or like Jedi are, but he's the one who has the moral compass, it seems like, and he was the one figuring things out. So
if you don't think he was going to shoot her down, what were we doing watching him loading her up on a targeting computer?
I think he was either going to stun like her vehicle, like he set the weapons to stun. I don't know if that's a thing on ships.
I don't think it is.
Or he was maybe just gonna like kind of like ram her in a way like that like disables her vehicle. That's what I was thinking, but I mean I have no clue. Anyhow, so we get into the action pretty quickly, right? So Soul like lands, May lands on the planet. He's still pursuing her, but then at the same time, and we're gonna jump back to something that I know you're itching to talk about, Tom. Gonna pull him out. Yeah, so before Osha and Chimere go off to the planet that I forget the name of the planet where May and Soul are on.
Brendok.
That one, Brendok.
I think, right?
They have a little bit of a conversation before they leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Planet Sexy. Planet Sexy times.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess he basically Chimera tells her, like, this is your last chance. Like, will you consider like training? And then, she's kind of like adamant, like, no, I'm not like my sister. I'm not going to be doing that. Why is this particular character kind of lurking in the shadows, observing all of this?
It's an Easter egg for us fans. It's just that.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's the question of who is the acolyte. Only two there are, the Sith, where it's, obviously Sidious has Dooku, but then Dooku has Ventress. So it's like, who's the real, Sith pair? Who's the real acolyte of the Sith? So I don't know. I have theories about where I think like the next season are going to go that require Plagueis to be there. So.
Oh shoot! I thought Victoria turned off the camera because I thought she was going to come in with a Plagueis mask on.
No, I had to let my dog out. She wanted to walk out of the office.
Oh.
But I took that opportunity to retrieve.
Hey, there he is.
Beautiful. Does your Plagueis have an Irish accent?
Oh, we're going to eat some haggis and hummus and have some potatoes and then go to the old pub down the...
I don't think he sounds quite like that. He sounds a little more gurgly to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Merman from He-Man? I'm going to get you, He-Man.
I've never watched that, so I couldn't tell you.
All my references are way too old.
I have my own opinion on why Plagueis is there, but I'm curious if either of you have some thoughts first.
He could be Chimere's master. He could just be another Sith that's looking to team up with somebody else. So he's been tracking Chimere down. He could be hoping that Chimere passes the test of getting an acolyte so that he can pit them against one another. Could go anywhere. I hope we get a season 2 so I get to find out.
Yeah.
He's wonderfully creepy looking. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I was definitely like, I was definitely like, they're definitely not going to show Plagueis. And I looked at that and I'm like, that looks exactly like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they going to be cagey about it? So I appreciated them being like, nope, it's Plagueis. He's there. He's hanging out in a cave being spooky. Like, great. Yeah, I don't know.
Chelsey, do you have any thoughts?
I think that he's Chimere's actual like master, and I don't know why Chimere was looking for an apprentice. Maybe he wants to do the similar thing where he and the apprentice kill Plagueis and take his place, get the power. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm really excited. I really hope they give us a season 2 so we get a little bit more of an answer to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that Osha and Chimere can make out.
That's all I'm hoping for.
Right? I mean, sorry, old Plagueis. You're going to have to go back into the cave.
Did you guys...
Was he watching when Chimere was butt naked? Like,
I've already seen the memes online about that on TikTok. Anyway, did you guys notice like his face, the Plagueis' face, like he makes like a scowl, like right as that, like when we see him and the ship takes off.
I couldn't really tell what was going on.
He makes like an angry like kind of face, like.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
So I was thinking of like about that, and I was thinking about what Chimere asks Osha, like, would you consider training? And what I feel like is that Plagueis is Chimere's master. I think Chimere is a Sith. I think he's kind of said enough things at this point that makes it pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
The stuff about the Sith code and his philosophies and
also when he just comes out and says, "I'm a Sith."
Yeah, he says like a Jedi, like you would call me Sith. So I mean, yeah. So if he says that that's what he is, I'll take him at his word. But I feel like Plagueis is Chimera probably doesn't know Plagueis is there, and maybe he's keeping tabs on him, and he's like, oh crap, he's trying to recruit his own apprentice. And we know what happens with the rule of 2, right? Like, they're gonna kill the master, and then so I mean, I kind of think that's where things are at. From that little glimpse, just a little bit of details we can extract from that. I mean, maybe I'm completely off the mark, but I kind of feel like that's what it is. But yeah, I definitely hope we get season 2 to explain that.
Yeah. It could be any of those things. I mean, it could be that Chimera is the master and Plagueis is his apprentice, and now he's pissed off because he sees Chimera going and getting another apprentice of his own. Like, and I also like how someone here pointed out that they hope he doesn't sound like Sand Hill, because they just sound like this, right?
The banking clan will spy your team.
What? Isn't it like this? The banking clan. Yeah.
Yeah. When reading that novel, I never thought he sounded like that, but
no.
Anyway,
maybe it's like the Nemoidians who don't have the accents. They come from different parts of the planet.
Yeah. And Plagueis is just his Sith name. Like he has a different name too.
Higo Damask.
Yeah, Damask.
Oh, beautiful.
I remembered that.
Nice.
Like a steel trap.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so it was really cool. I thought it was really cool. I know some people were like not happy that he was in there and whatever. It was a cool thing. It's interesting that some of these characters are so old though, like because he was, if going back to like the Darth Maul book, like Plagueis was killed like during the course of the Phantom Menace. We don't see it on screen, but that's when that happened. So he looks really old, like when we see him in Acolyte already. He looks older than Sand Hill did in Attack of the Clones, right? So it makes you wonder like how old he really was. And how many apprentices has he had? If Chimera is indeed his apprentice, like how many apprentices did he have before he got to Sidious?
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's really hidden in the shadows here, and he's got creepy stuff going on his face. But also that just could be advances in digital texturing to what Sand Hill looked like from 2002 or 2001 when that came out. He looks like a creepy old guy, but I'd need to see a better picture of him to make that determination. But yeah, I get the impression he's super old.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get back to Brendock, and we see the rematch between Sol and Chimera. What about that fight? What did you guys think about that?
Great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Really
Love that choreography. Again, you can see them reacting to each other, which I think was a really great touch.
Yeah. The thing where Chimera throws the lightsabers at him and he deflects them with the fort,
yeah,
and it sends it back, and it was just everything. The only thing it was missing was an epic John Williams score, which is unfortunate. Because I think it could have used it. And also, I'm not a fan of the midday lighting.
Yeah.
It might have been a little over the top, but I would have preferred, like, I don't know, rain or something like that. Something a bit more. But the choreography was fantastic. It was a fantastic fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat. Like, just seeing it, like how different it was too, like from the previous duel they had and from anything we'd seen before in live action. It definitely had a different vibe to it, different feel.
Yeah,
the slow motion and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Someone said keep it in the dark hallways. Yeah,
that was
Tom's basement.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like that little bit where they were in the hallway and they were just going back and forth. That's pretty. It reminded me a bit of Revenge of the Sith.
Or Empire Strikes Back.
Or that. Because there was a hallway there too. And then we get the rest of the story from as far as like Osha doesn't know the whole thing yet, right? We know as the audience, May knows the full story because Sol told her, but now she understands like what really went down. That he, she doesn't know the details, but she doesn't really need to. All she knows is that Soul killed her mother, and that's enough to push her over the edge.
And that May wasn't responsible for everyone dying, which sort of allows 2 and 2 to be put together with who's responsible for everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, Soul, I love you, but you had it coming.
Yep.
I love you. Great guy. I thought he did a great job in the show. A really warm, really likable character, but deeply flawed on a fundamental level. That a good tragic story.
Definitely.
You know, it kind of broke me a little bit. Like I was when I watch him the second time, I put on the subtitles just to see if I missed anything, and I often do miss like little bits of dialogue. But as she's force choking him, he says it's okay, like he's accepting it, and I was like, oh man, that's sad.
Yep.
How did you guys feel about seeing this in live action?
Oh, the color changing thing?
The bleeding of the saber crystal.
I thought that was cool, and that's coming from someone who preferred the old Legends thing where I think the Sith manufacture their crystals or something like that. And that's why
they were synthetic.
Yeah, and I thought the kind of bleeding thing was sort of like, when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of silly. But watching it happen on screen, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I liked it.
I thought it was really cool. Yeah. Like, not much more to add.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally saw it in live action.
Yeah. I was definitely like, we're all sort of leaning into like, in this episode, she's going to turn to the dark side, right? They're going to switch roles, and watching it happen was very, very satisfying. And that being the specific thing that they used to signify it in a visual way, I thought was great.
Yeah. Then we see a new force power memory wipe. That's something we hadn't, I think it's been maybe in, I don't know if it's Legends, but it's been out there, but like to actually like see it. And it was the tactic itself, it seemed like looked really simple. I thought it was going to be a little more involved, like with like Sith sorcery or something, but it was just kind of like, just like a quick like gesture.
I think it's because she's letting it happen. Right.
True.
She's like, we're taking this stuff. This is the stuff you're taking. That's the stuff I'm taking. I think if she resisted, you probably wouldn't be able to do it.
Or wasn't aware that it was happening. Yeah, that's true. And then we basically end at that. She goes off with Chimere, and it's their story is to be continued. Whether or not that actually happens, like for us to see in live action, who knows? And then we cut back to Coruscant, and Vernestra's talking about the cover up that she kind of orchestrated, blaming Soul for everything. Kind of reminded me of talking about Batman again, like the Dark Knight, like they're blaming him for all this stuff that happened. And then we see our last little glimpse of this series, the cameo at the end. Master Yoda himself, no dialogue, it's just the back of his head. It's really quick. He looks exactly as old as he did in the original film, so doesn't look any younger from the little bit we can see. But do you guys think Yoda was necessary to show?
No, sorry, I didn't let you finish asking your question.
That's all I was gonna say.
No.
I didn't really necessarily think he was necessary, but I do think there was like another line earlier on when Vernestra is trying to get a hold of someone, and they're like, this is very highly, unorthodox or whatever. And I'm assuming she was probably trying to get a hold of Yoda at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like, I'm okay with it being there. Like,
it was the one thing that made me groan.
Sure.
Okay. But
it was a little cringe.
But it's fine.
Yeah, the only questions like for me, like it's okay to see it, but like then it opens up more questions like, does she tell Yoda about her conspiracy to cover everything up? Like, what is his extent? Like do I want him to know about all of that? I mean, I kind of don't, because he's Yoda. I'd kind of rather him remain kind of more pure than all that. But I mean, I don't know. That's like stuff for season 2, but
yeah, I doubt she tells him that. I bet it's more about the fact that the Senate is trying to take a more hands-on control over the Jedi Council. And she's going to use this story as a little bit of a basis to try and get the Jedi to be even more insular. That would be what I'd guess. I don't think she tells Yoda about this.
Yeah.
I think she does.
You think she does?
I think Yoda is complicit.
I mean, it could be. It's like, how could he, like, you see in Revenge of the Sith during Order 66, he's sensing and feeling all that. Like, how did he not feel like all these Jedi dying in the series? Like,
there's like 5 of them.
And I mean, the only thing that I can, like, kind of see that maybe he does kind of know a little bit more is, again, the Phantom Menace, when he's not like, he knows a little bit about the Sith, right? He's like, you know, hard to see the dark side is, and he says always 2 there are. It's like, well, it's a secret. How does he know about it? Like, so I mean, he knows a little bit of that Sith, you know, history and story, but maybe that's what this is going to fill in if there is a season 2, like how he does know what he knows.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought would potentially happen. Like, you know, maybe Yoda in the prequels when he's saying, you know, the stuff about the Sith and, you know, Coady Mundi being like, the Sith have been gone for 1,000 years or whatever. You know, it's partially like maybe Yoda knew and he was part of this cover up. I don't know. I mean, he's the like head of the Jedi Order, and, you know, all this stuff is happening within the Jedi Order. And, you know, he even says later on that, you know, he like made mistakes and stuff, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they don't do that because
in HR.
Yeah, right.
I think she means High Republic.
Oh, it's like in human resources,
that's
he's
what I
covering
thought
things
too.
up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he does do that also. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you what, the thing I'm most excited for with season 2 is not how it connects with the prequels or how Darth Plagueis does his thing with Sidious. It's watching these 2 characters here and more of their relationship and drama unfold.
Mm-hmm.
I think those 2 are that interesting. I want to see more of them. That's why you didn't need Yoda, and as much as I love Plagueis, I didn't need Plagueis either.
True. The only thing we didn't really touch on a whole lot that's still kind of like, you know, I'm still grappling with is like the whole Vergence thing, and you know how that, because you know, like when you see it in the Phantom Menace, it's like it's treated like this miracle, like this miraculous thing, like, you know, this is the chosen one, and then, you know, but it's kind of to some extent happened before maybe with them, and we still don't even know like how they were created exactly. So I don't think it was the same exact thing as Anakin, but then we know Plagueis was trying to do this too, like going back to that book. So it feels like the whole idea of it just kind of muddies the waters a little bit. And does that make Anakin like a little bit less special? Does that just try to convolute the story a little bit too much? Like, I don't know. It just fills me with a bunch of like questions, some confusion. And, you know, I'm not really sure I'm digging that side of this story. But
this was 100 years ago. That would be like being like, you know, a tornado struck, you know, I don't know, a tornado struck New York City and knocked down the Empire State Building, and then it happens again 100 years later. It's like, it's long enough ago that it's pretty rare. But also, I don't know what a Vergence in the Force is. And my honest feelings is the whole Anakin is the chosen one thing. It's been with us for 25 years now, 26 years. It is what it is. It always struck me as pretty, I don't know,
Bible-ish.
I remember seeing that and being like, this is pretty dumb.
Yes. I have a theory, though. I have a theory. You ready for my big theory?
Yes.
So I think that this is setting up Plagueis learning how to create life through the Force, because Mother Coral is still out there somewhere. I think their second season, maybe they go and find Mother Coral to figure out things. Plagueis learns how to do that. Then eventually he tells Palpatine how to do it. There's a section of one of the Darth Vader comics that we don't know if it's metaphor or not, but it shows Palpatine like over Shmi going like this and like creating life. So I think that it's going to connect things like that, personally, but we'll have to wait and see. So
I would love it if we got back to it and we got back to finding out that Shmi just had a one-night stand with someone and the guy just took off. And when she's like, there was no father, it's like, he went out for cigarettes and never came back.
Yes.
And he's just a deadbeat somewhere.
It was Quinlan Voss.
It was Quinlan Voss.
He's on Tatooine.
Mundi.
He is hot, Quinlan Voss. So
he was on Tatooine. He was in Mos Espa, so
exactly. But I do think it's kind of like taking that very stupid concept that George Lucas put in there, where it's like no one had done this before except for Anakin, but it's just mirroring that and actually explaining it a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, we also don't know how these two were created.
Right.
We know that they were carried by someone, but how were they created? They could have been a cloned embryo I don't think so. I think it's a Force-related thing, but we still have no idea. And there's the other mystery they leave us with, which who told them that rhyme they tell to each other?
Oh yeah.
They're very specific. They're very call it out. Like who taught us that anyway?
That was weird. Now that you said
it. I didn't really think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be something that'll be important at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's old Lucky Charms guy. Old Lucky Charms taught them the thing.
Right. He needs a new voice now. He needs a new voice, Tom. All right. Well, any final thoughts on the Acolyte season 2? Anything else you guys want to mention? We've been going a long time on this topic, but any final things you guys want to throw in here?
Not for old Tom. I really enjoyed it. It had a couple hiccups along the way, and there was some stuff that could have been dusted off and worked out a little bit better. But overall, I had a blast with it. Thought it was a lot of fun.
Yep. Pretty much agree. Week to week, I was kind of like, I don't know how much I like this, but watching them all, back to back, I was like, okay, I actually really like this format a little bit better. Because it doesn't leave you questioning really stupid things week after week.
Yeah, like I like the way it started, and then it kind of started losing me a little bit, but then like it kind of came back on track, like with the night episode and the ending. I feel like the pacing could have been a little bit better. Like there were times, like especially like during the night episode, where you see like Chimere and Soul like dueling it out, then it cuts to like May running away, and then you see like the transition, right, like the wipe and stuff like that, or the fade, like all the different little Star Wars transitions. And it just kind of feels like, well, maybe just show us that twice as long before cutting away instead of just jumping back and forth. But so definitely an imperfect series, I felt like, but I enjoyed it for the most part, and I would like to see the story continue. Thanks to both of you for talking to me about it and hearing me out, and I enjoyed hearing you guys' thoughts as well, and to everybody in the chat who's been very respectful and keeping things on the kind side. We appreciate that. And we're going to end just really quickly with any new acquisitions that you guys have added to your collections, anything brand new that you've added that you would like to share. So Chelsey, we'll go with you first. Do you have anything brand new you want to show us?
New-ish. I'm very excited about the Padme. Padme is one of my favorite characters. Let's get the Red Rush Padme next. Love this.
Yeah.
I am so glad we finally have this. Like,
yes,
this is a great figure. A little bit kind of like loose joints in some places, but the fact that it also can like roll up into a ball and like do the same thing, I think this is a great piece of like toy engineering. So great job, Hasbro. And I'll leave it at those two for now.
Very nice. Tom, what do you have there other than Darth Plagueis?
I got Darth Sidious. I love him. I've been wanting this version of this figure for a long time now, and he does not disappoint. And getting him in hand was sort of the final determining factor in me pre-ordering the Hot Toys one.
Nice.
I didn't like him that much. Yep.
The soft goods on that looks really good.
They're fantastic. They're fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than the custom one I made.
Nice. For me, I have a few things here. So I finally, and this is my figure of the year so far for the vintage collection. I did open up finally my Zeb. Really,
nice.
And he is excellent. I have him standing on one foot, and he's been standing on one foot for almost a week now, and he hasn't fallen over, so very sturdy. Wow. And he's excellent.
That's awesome.
Looks great.
He's really good. Deluxe, a little pricey, but Still solid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is going to scare some of my TVC friends here because I actually have a couple Black Series. I did get that Destroyer droid, but he is on the shelf, so I don't have it right now to show. But I did get the Super Battle droid.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, which looks really nice. The sculpt looks great. I haven't opened it yet, and because I'm starving for some Acolyte figures, and the ones from TVC aren't out yet, I did go ahead and start buying them. So here's Endora.
Nice.
And I have the others on order, so I will be getting the others pretty soon here.
Nice.
And that's pretty much all I have. I do have one update to one of my droids here because I started mixing and matching parts again. I got bored with them, so kind of started redoing this guy.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
so just swapping parts, kind of doing new things. And, this guy, of course, has the, that's the RO head, which I think that the RO head is like newer. We don't see any in the original trilogy, but it was like, it's in some of the Disney series and it's in the sequel trilogy. So he has his personality chip. So he has his own sounds.
Very cute.
Oh, I love that.
That's very cute. Very cute. Yeah. Someone was asking. Sorry, Lorena was asking. The Darth Sidious hood is plastic. Plastic hood.
Oh, okay, cool.
Someone was asking, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that. All right. Well, guys, we've been going a really long time. I didn't think that discussion was going to take nearly as long as it did. But thank you for bearing with me and sorry for keeping you all so long.
I blame Darth Plagueis interruptions.
I blame...
And that's Chelsea's fault.
I'm sorry.
How does he sound again?
Oh, I need me Lucky Charms. I'm doing a dance around the Blarney Stone. Diddly diddly die die river dance.
That's canon.
I think
canon.
Mine says... Wait, say it again. Mine says that he's actually from my home state. He's from Texas, he says.
Oh,
what
nice.
else?
Sounds like Glenn Powell.
Y'all want to go with me to the rodeo tomorrow night?
Let's do it. Sold.
Yep.
Anyway, it's been a blast. Thank you all for hanging out. And I have your socials down in the description, but let us know in any case where we can go to look you up online. Chelsey, where can we go?
I'm at Chelsey B. Coombs pretty much everywhere. My name is spelled weird, so there's a Y instead of an A for the Chelsey. But yeah, find me on Instagram. I'm not on X anymore, but I'm also on Blue Sky, and that's kind of where I'm hanging out now. So you can find me there.
Awesome. And Tom, what about you?
I'm still on the dreadful, sad, dying platform that is Twitter. It sucks. And I'm on Instagram as Woozle and Demon, and I post pictures of my cat there.
Awesome. And thanks to everybody who's sharing your acquisitions. Love seeing it. Mary got some Bad Batch Hot Toys, Imperial Commando that we were talking about earlier, and then TVC Kanan, very nice. Future got is asking about Boss Bounty video, which I haven't seen yet. I'm going to see it. Scott says that he got the Stan Solo Tonica Sisters in Disney Parks R70 and 0. Very nice.
Love me some Stan Solo.
Lorena got, great stuff. Lorena got backgrounds for diorama and photos, Skywalker Home and Jedi Council. Very nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Very nice. Very cool. So some folks did add some stuff to their collections. Howrunner Base also got TVC Pilot Luke and Micro Galaxy Squadron ATT. We don't talk a lot about Micro Galaxy Squadron, but there are a lot of things they're announcing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Alcin picked up Lisa Serlin. Very nice. Oh, that you already had. It happens. I've done that. I've done that too.
Yep, I've done
All right. Well, friends, thank you very much again. We appreciate you being on tonight's panel. We'll do it again soon. Chelsey, I'll see you next week.
Sounds
and again,
good.
We'll be at San Diego Comic-Con and more details to follow. But anybody that's there, we will be doing a meetup. If you want to come say hi to us and to others, I'll give the full details on that and who else will be with us on Monday through the socials. So stay tuned for that. Everybody that's been hanging out with us tonight in the chat, watching, lurking like Plagueis. Thank you. Hit the like button.
hit us up. Not next week because we'll be at Comic-Con, but the week after I'll be back for some more Cantina Social Hour. No matter where you're tuning in from around the galaxy, thank you for watching Social Hour. We'll see you next Friday. Be well, be safe. May the force be with you. We'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody.